As Americans turn the corner towards the final presidential debate on Wednesday, the election circus has devolved into personal attacks and character assassination rather than any real focus on the issues plaguing the United States.
The media outlets did not even attempt to confirm the most basic facts, because even a simple investigation would have shown that these were nothing more than false smears.
Facing an avalanche of new accusations from women who are coming forward to claim he kissed and fondled them. 6 women are going public today with stories that echo what Trump himself said in that notorious hot mic video.
He called this woman Miss Piggy. Her name is Alicia Machado.
Trump spoke out about those claims on Fox News.
And she was the worst we ever had. The worst, the absolute worst. And, she gained a massive amount of weight. And it was a real problem.
Regardless of the fact that Obama's unconstitutional open border policy is quietly responsible for killing as many as 7,500 Americans every year, 20 on average per day, due to the hordes of illegal drivers flooding the roads, while Obama creates a pilot program to have Americans pay for Syrian refugees to come to the United States and move into our homes. Regardless of the fact that food stamp participation has increased by 78% over the past 10 years, regardless of the fact that Obama and Hillary's new Cold War rhetoric, amplified by a suicidal mainstream media, has obliterated any shred of integrity 6% of Americans still think cable-fed propaganda media has, after polls revealed America is almost completely done with the mainstream media. Mainstream media's stranglehold of propaganda desperation and damage was palpable on the campaign trail, as if its demise was what truly concerns Americans, but obviously has panicked the ruling elite.
He doesn't have the temperament, he doesn't have the knowledge, he doesn't seem to have the interest in acquiring the knowledge or the basic honesty that a president needs to have. And that was true before we heard him talking about how he treats women.
This is not something that we can ignore. It's not something we can just sweep under the rug as just another disturbing footnote in a sad election season.
By the way, Glenn Beck's supporting
because this was not
here,
just a lewd conversation. This wasn't just locker room banter.
No, this was turning ISIS.
This was a powerful individual speaking freely and openly.
She's so sad
about sexually predatory behavior.
She cares so much.
And actually bragging about kissing and groping women, using language
like
so obscene that many of us were worried about our children hearing it when we turn on the TV.
Oh, she cares so much.
You know, she made a powerful speech. They said it was the greatest speech of the decade, I think.
Speaking to everyone out there who respects women and saying, put your politics aside for a second and be able to call something that's indefensible.
They care less about women who are getting killed and enslaved.
Politics aside for a second.
They say nothing
Online
about China.
news is the future, and Washington, D.C. knows it. 6 in 10 Americans are getting their news from social media alone, while 1 in 5 households has dropped cable's buffet of news propaganda to research digital options and think for themselves. Mainstream media, with its hubris as shallow and obvious as the corporate government criminals it represents, appears to be breathing its last gasp. John Bound for Infowars.com.
Absolutely, and here is the bottom line. Even if Trump doesn't get elected, which I think he will, they may try to steal it, this is his victory. We're exposing their whole criminal operation. This is really a referendum on mainstream media, and they've totally shown their hand and destroyed themselves, and the ratings show that. They're over. Ladies and gentlemen, we're now only 19 days out from the midterm election. I'm Alex Jones, your host. Thank you so much for joining us today. We have another jam-packed, incredibly important transmission lined up for you today. Watching Fox, watching CNN, watching MSNBC now is almost like watching the same channels. The way they spin and deceive is simply incredible. I watched 2 different Fox shows this morning while I was working out, and they all agreed there's really no election fraud going on, and it's very rare, and there's very little voter fraud, and Donald Trump really shouldn't be talking about this. After President Obama came out and attacked him yesterday while speaking with the Italian president from the Rose Garden. And I'm sitting there thinking, what planet are we on? Because we've got Scott Fovel the national coordinator under Robert Kramer, who goes to the White House 200+ times in the last few years and is running the national program funded by Soros and Move On and others, to go around and have people illegally vote. I mean, they're on video saying, and having them bust around to polling station after polling station in battleground states, from Pennsylvania to Ohio to Florida to New York, who they see as a battleground because they know how well Trump's really doing, cussing and bragging and acting like people right out of a Cops and Robbers movie. And, of course, this morning it was 200+ times. Now the actual number has been confirmed 340 times. They have to dig through the records. Breitbart's done that. So we've got the White House. We've got the White House knee-deep in all of this publicly. And you've got the head of the New York Election Commission, a Democrat, saying the candidates bust their people around, the Democrats running or stealing elections, and he thinks it's wrong, but there's nothing he can do about it. Then we have Scott Fovel, the underling of Mr. Kramer, Robert Kramer, on video saying that they are stealing elections, and the best part is, he goes, there's nothing they can do about it. We don't even care if reporters catch the fraud because the media is not going to pick it up, and there's nothing they can do, and nobody's going to prosecute us. Folks, Democrats are so criminal in this country now that in California, Illinois, and 6 or 7 other states in the last year, they tried and in some cases passed laws that were then not implemented because they were so illegal at the federal level to allow illegal aliens to vote. It actually says you can land on a plane, and if it's on election day, you can vote. You can come in on a visa or come in illegally. You're not a citizen, you can vote. Anybody could just Google that. Democrats introduce legislation to allow undocumented to work will be the headline. Or Illinois House passes unanimously a bill to allow migrants to vote. I mean, this is crazy. Because then they get up on TV and Obama says that, what's the exact quote? I have the clip here. To Trump, stop whining about a rigged election. Now, remember, about 3 months ago, I come out and I say they're going to try to steal the election. They tried to steal it from Trump. He stood up and said no. They did steal it from Bernie Sanders. That's been certified by Stanford University and others. But you can just look on record that they had superdelegates in 11 states circumvent the actual popular vote. So he won big time. And so if they've already stole it, and if Hillary's already been caught engaged in so much crime, and as the former high-level Secret Service agent said 2 days ago on air, Hillary already stole the nomination, so she's already stolen the election. She will go for broke. So we live in a country where we have HD video of the head of New York elections saying it's total fraud, they're stealing elections, it's horrible, I wish we could stop it. But the Democrats won't stop it, and he's a Democrat. But he obviously is not a bad person. And then you've got the #1 organization for organizing voting in the Democratic Party since Acorn got sunk by James O'Keefe, the mighty James O'Keefe. And no one is covering it. That's why I was really watching Fox News this morning, because there was almost no mention of it. And then they had Juan Williams on with Hemmer. And Juan Williams was on there, and he was like, oh, it's no big deal. That James O'Keefe thing's nothing. That's nothing. So I tune over to CNN, and we've actually got a similar clip. I guess that's the talking point, but it's a different show than what I saw. And they're like, James O'Keefe, we're not talking about that to the guest. That man's a criminal. And the other host goes, yeah, a criminal. He's a convicted criminal. They didn't tell you it was for basically trespassing in a congresswoman's office. Oh, my God, he walked into the office and said, "Hi, I'm here to fix the telephones," because they turned the telephones off for days. Remember that? Because they didn't want to take falls, so he walked in to show they're a bunch of liars. That's what a journalist does. They turned that around that he was trespassing. Actually, oh, my gosh.
Alex, you know, trespassing, again, you're being pretty modest there, but it was actually a less degree of a crime than that. It was entering a government building on false pretenses.
Sure, I was going from memory, but that's how the media spun it. So exactly. He went in a public building as an investigative journalist. I didn't know there was a law entering a building on false pretenses. I think they mean then that triggers a trespassing charge.
Oh, they had to really try and find something to hit him with, because what he was doing was actually legal by pretty much every stretch of the imagination.
The guy is an absolute American hero.
To get into the phone system.
He is an absolute American hero. He is the model of journalism. What he does should be taught in every journalism school in the world. Instead, a bunch of false journalists, political frauds, get up on Fox and CNN and everywhere and call him a criminal, and then don't even tell their viewers what he's supposedly a criminal for. This is like saying he has a frickin' speeding ticket. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So basically, he entered the building on false pretenses, and like you said, it was Mary Landrieu's office, and she was hiding from many of her constituents, saying she was claiming that her phone system didn't work. And so his whole gist there was he entered with a hard hat and kind of like a construction vest, and his intent was to go in and basically say, "Hey, I'm here to fix the broken phones," trying to catch someone, one of her staffers, saying there is no problem with the phones. And at that point, he would have, busted her out. But what happened was one of his partners in the video sting went into it, and he was a little green and didn't use the right language. It seemed suspicious.
Sure.
And then he was actually able to make an escape, but then was...
Sure, I mean, I covered it a few years ago. It was like 3 or 4 years ago back when it happened. And by the way, I love it, Matt, when you pop in on the show, but we are TV. If you guys are going to pop in, you got to aim a camera at you, so we're not just looking at me while you're talking. But you're making some really, really great points there to remind people, and that's why I raised it. It's the way they deceive their viewers. Oh, don't listen to James O'Keefe. He's a criminal. He's a convicted criminal. No, he's an investigative journalist that snuck in there to show a lie. I snuck into Bohemian Grove. I've snuck into other facilities to expose things. You're supposed to get a medal for that when you expose corruption, not get charged. And they tried to charge you with felonies, wiretapping and stuff, but that fell through. But that's an absolutely great point, Matt. In fact, we're going to get to some of these clips here in a moment. Feel free to pop back in with those whenever you'd like. But any other points?
No. You got it.
What I'm getting at is it's so frustrating to see this level of deception and to see somebody who has produced more game-changing, on-the-ground investigative reports than anybody in history I know of. The famous gumshoes, the famous Mickey Spillanes, the famous folks that brought down corrupt mayors and corrupt mafia organizations are nothing compared to this guy. His laundry list of devastation against tyrants is beautiful. I mean, we probably wouldn't even be in the game right now if it wasn't for people like James O'Keefe and Matt Drudge, and quite frankly, myself. And I don't say that so I get credit either. But this operation, our crew, the audience, that is InfoWars. But when you talk about a one-man wrecking crew with his organization he has now, but if it wasn't for his push, we would be in even worse trouble. And he just brings out bombshell after bombshell. And to see the mainstream media unified, despite the fact that his reports now have tens of millions of views the last 2 days. And there's no coverage unless somebody mentions it as a guest, and they shut them down. They go, well, there's no evidence of election fraud. Trump's crazy, and we don't talk about O'Keefe. He's a criminal who selectively edits. No, he doesn't. That's why he puts out, they manipulate him into putting out 16-minute, 20-minute, 30-minute, hour-long videos unedited, which aren't as powerful. He needs to put out really short ones that show what the bad stuff is, and then say, here's the full thing if you want to see it. But they kind of manipulate him. I'm going to skip this break, because I've talked to him on and off air, into then putting the whole thing out like Planned Parenthood did. The folks that exposed that. Oh, you're saying we selectively edit? Here's 3 hours Totally unedited. You got to edit it when you're undercover and you got 5, 6, 7 hours of stuff. If the jury wants to see the full video, they can go at night and sit in the jury box and watch the full 10 hours. You don't have time in a trial. This is a public trial. We're going to show you the clips. The jury decides if they look edited, okay? And it's not edited. It's for brevity, the clips of the meat and potatoes. Speaking of the devil, we're going to play some of the. We're going to play some pretty juicy clips, boil downs of what's happening. But look, we've got governors and legislators and investigators coming out saying fraud all over the country. We have got massive ballot box stuffing and early voting in Florida and New York. That's coming out. We have got just incredible stuff happening. And again, we have Obama saying they're federalizing the elections to stop the Russians. That's the crazy conspiracy theory. We know about the Democratic Party and their election fraud using voter fraud at the grassroots. They are famous for it. World famous. So again, this is just like saying it's ridiculous. Obamacare is free and you can keep your doctor and there's no penalty. It's a lie. It's a right-wing conspiracy theory. I can't do a good Obama accent, but I'm quoting Obama right now. Listen, yeah, it's a right-wing conspiracy theory, all right? They don't want you to get a better deal. This is it. Don't believe them. You like your doctor, you can keep it. It's going to be free for most of you. Going to reduce it for others down to the price of a phone bill or cable bill, all right? Don't listen to these people. There's no penalties. Joe Biden. Barack Obama isn't coming after your guns. Not your rifle, your shotgun, your handgun, your semi-auto, none of it. Let me tell you, he comes after my Beretta, it's semi-auto, he's going to have a problem. That's a quote, Joe Biden. Did they come after your guns? You damn well better know they did. And the new WikiLeaks show they're coming with executive orders. So what we're facing is a wall of lies. And I know you know this, but we've got to get the word out to people that are still in the bubble that only watch mainstream TV and explain to them, you're a buffoon. You got conned by Obamacare. You got conned by NAFTA and GATT and all this other stuff that he's against. He wants term limits. He wants bans on lobbying. I mean, they are freaking out. No wonder the political power structure is scared because their whole system is in trouble as he prepares to try to drain the swamp. Here's another one. Election expert. This is Fox News. We now have 4 million ineligible and dead voters on American voter rolls. That's admitted. It's 4 million. It's more than 4 million. And they are voting, voting, voting. They have people voting up to 10 times a day in early voting right now, ladies and gentlemen, around the country. They've got them getting ready to vote more than 10 times apiece in battleground states. This is unbelievable. And you know why they're so scared? And they have Obama out there saying, how dare you say that Trump's going to have people outside the polls looking for people voting more than once? How dare you? That's voter intimidation. Oh, but there's no election fraud, but if we go try to watch, we're trying to intimidate people. You know what's going to happen in battleground states? Folks are going to go vote. They're going to sit in their car. They're going to see buses pull up, or they're going to see vans pull up. They're going to see cars pull up with a bunch of people getting out of them. Black, white, you name it, Hispanic, but generally poor. A lot of times drunk. They admittedly give them alcohol, pay them, you name it. And then you follow them to the next polling place. You go in with a hidden camera. You got them. You got them. Now, be careful about election laws because they'll commit crimes and do this right in front of you and then try to charge you with disrupting an election or whatever. But look, we're going to bring these tyrants down, and they're scared because they know that Trump's organizing it. We're helping people organize it. You're taking action. Just, folks, you go to a popular polling place in a battleground state, you're going to see election fraud. It's very hard to catch them in the absentee stuff. That's where they really load it. They front load it. But the big cheating, because this is a landslide for Trump, 10, 15 points ahead. Newt Gingrich said that 2 days ago. He's absolutely right. That's what I've been telling you. Internal polls, that's why he knows it's rigged, because Trump's doing real internal polling. And he knows that he's 5 to 15 points, depending where he's at, ahead of Hillary, and then he sees the news saying he's behind, or he's in a dead heat with her. There's fraud going on, ladies and gentlemen, and you know that. So we have to get the word out on those subjects. Now, I should have got to this yesterday. I mentioned it. We posted on InfoWars. We wrote stories about it, actually, on Monday when it first started breaking. O'Keefe sent us the big data dump like he did Drudge and everybody else at the same time. We reported on it Monday. We covered it Tuesday. Our reporters covered it, but I haven't gotten into this enough because, quite frankly, I thought that this would actually break through and get on mainstream networks. It hasn't. And O'Keefe's written articles that are on Infowars.com dealing with the fact that there is a total news blockade on this information. So we need to go to Infowars.com and other sites and get these videos and get them out to everybody, because the October surprise, why is the media ignoring the James O'Keefe video that shows Hillary Clinton supporters inciting violence at Donald Trump rallies? The Inquisitor says claiming. It doesn't claim it. We have the WikiLeaks. We have the police telling us. We have it on video that they go and start it in Bird Dog and hit people first. And then we have the organizers from Chicago nationally admitting it. And guess what? Matt Dubiel, that manages one of the big stations we're on in Chicago. I said we're on 2 stations in Chicago. He's been carrying us about 5 years. He's come here and visited with us. I know his family. He knows this guy. And he was on during March confirming as a journalist, as the news director, also the manager at the station, that he was there and shot video that went viral, millions of views, that showed them starting the fights when the media was announcing that the Trump people supported it. So we had the ground video, the Chicago police through our sources, our other sources in the Democratic Party through Roger Stone, the WikiLeaks emails again, and now James O'Keefe video of the national director for the #1 organization for quote, getting out the vote for the Democrats, caught saying, we're going to steal the election like we always do, and cussing a bunch, and also saying, we're bussing folks in, and also saying we sent people out to Bird Dog and incite violence. We have them in the entire chain of command, from Soros right through Hillary and Obama, right down to their field captains. We have the entire open and shut case. A jury would deliberate an hour before convicting them of organized crime and racketeering. And by the way, organized crime racketeering is when you organize with powerful institutions and groups to suppress people's voting, people's right to work, people's right to travel. That is what racketeering laws were put in place for, to stop organized crime. The bullying tactics of thugs and scum. And now we have them trying to threaten the FBI, but also offer them bribes to say that Hillary didn't have classified info and lie about it. And now we have them saying, don't worry, Hillary, you're not going to get in trouble. The shadow government's in control of the media and handling it. It's all there. But, oh, my gosh, there's all these women crying crocodile tears all over every channel going, he talked about grabbing a girl when she threw himself on her. And, you know, I started thinking back to just when I'm hanging out with friends, and I'm not really a potty mouth type guy, but just being around other men, most men, it's just like some stupid junior high thing they do where you start making jokes and saying really silly, stupid stuff. A lot of it's just silly. And now I'm catching myself going, did I just say that while me and the guys are riding around in a field, you know, hunting deer? I mean, did I just hear myself say that? I'm like, wow. You really don't think about the kind of stuff you say. The type of really, you know, stupid humor, weird humor, nasty humor. And that's why I never claimed to be some perfect saint, because even though I love God, try to be a good person, and by most standards, I'm a very upright person and don't cheat and don't steal and care about things and a hardworking, a good father, you know, you get around a bunch of boys, get around the guys. I mean, let's not lie. You start saying some really, you know, uncool stuff. And, okay, Trump's got a problem. But compared to organized crime and funding radical Islam to literally enslave women by the millions and hundreds of thousands of dead Christians and little girls in sex slavery, and Hillary's in there directing it and pushing it because she hates Christians, and the abortion and the babies and the keeping them alive and all the horrors and the evil and the brainwashing our kids in schools and just everything they're doing. And then you watch these women with all this vitriol. How dare him talk about women, how he wants them. Meanwhile, it's the same women when rape accusers and people settle cases with them, Clinton does, the very same show, the very same women go, these are nothing but tramps. I mean, they are just so committed to deception. So when we come back, the 12th WikiLeaks data dump, the latest economic news, and so much more. But I'm going to play some excerpts of the James O'Keefe bombshells that they don't want you to see. By the way, the London Independent's reporting that we finally know what Hillary Clinton knew all along. U.S. allies, Saudi Arabia and Qatar, are funding ISIS. Yeah, she's the one that gave them the weapons. The emails go further than that. She's the founder of ISIS with Obama. Donald Trump's right again. Now, I hate to say, see, I told you so every 5 minutes, but I just want new listeners to understand that we don't normally have the time to go back and actually grab the clip from the time that we make predictions and lay things out. But back in March, when they really turned up the heat, started attacking every Trump rally viciously. Remember that? March, April, May, June, July. Matt, who's just incredible back there, was just remembered the interview and remembered the date where we laid it all out in our sources. We had the Chicago news station director on, and we told you exactly who's behind it, George Soros, the organizations, the groups, by name, what they were doing, why they were doing it, to blame Bernie Sanders and Trump, taking out both Hillary's enemies. Now, we have the WikiLeaks emails. We have the Hillary Soros-controlled group, the head of the group, and then the national director, both admitting the criminal operation and saying it doesn't matter. We control the media, and we control the police. Now, you talk about organized crime. We have them saying we're above the law. That's in the new tape today. And O'Keefe says he's got stuff coming out every day now until the end of the election, so much of it. Some of the things he told me months ago about are just unbelievable. Unbelievable. And that's really why I catch myself out of breath now and really upset by the end of the show, because I don't get to so much of this. I don't know how Drudge does it. I just got chills really bad. And I keep saying that because it's just like my whole body is like in horror mode, like you're cops and you pick up the floorboard in this cabin and there's 10 dead kids, you know? You're like, want to do something, and imagine if you knew the person that killed the kids was about to be president. You would be sick at your stomach. Well, that's how I am all the time. I was working at 10 o'clock last night, and I'm not saying thank me for that. I can't stop. I mean, this is real, folks. We're not just putting rhetoric out here. I am so ashamed of my country and the mainstream media that they would unify, lie like this, and do things like this. I know there's evil people at the top of the government, but man, the general public and the media, a large contingent of them are just bad people. They have no morals. I want to ask the Democrats something. Is there any line you won't cross? Is there anything you won't do? Is there anything Hillary could do that you would say is too far? Anything. Because here's the deal. This is so biblical. This is judgment. God is showing us, and the Bible says this will happen before total judgment, before a nation goes into bondage. And historically this happens. Whether you believe in God or not, this is a historical cycle. History does repeat. It does rhyme, as they say. And all this evil's coming out so much. And what's crazy is I cannot believe how accurately we understand the enemy, because I'm reading these WikiLeaks, and it just confirms everything we said exactly like we said it. And I'm quite frankly saying, how are we this good? And then I got to pull back and go, you're not that good. These people are formulaic. They run criminal formulaic operations. You study them all day. And it's very, very simple. What's scary is they've got the mainstream media and the government and the prosecutors almost completely behind them. And so they know that. And then you see them on tape going, nothing can stop us now. And then you know what comes next. It hits you like a ton of bricks. Oh, my God. It started the paradigm in history, the downward spiral. They always bring themselves down because they think they're totally invincible. And so they start doing crazier and crazier and crazier stuff until they destroy themselves and us with them. In criminology, almost every serial killer does this, but other criminals as well. Because a lot of criminals do it for the fun of being evil and hurting people. They don't do it just because they want to feed their starving kids. That's doing what you got to do. My kids are starving to death. Can't get them food. I'm breaking in a grocery store. I'll be quite frank with you. If there's no other way to get the food, I'll go bang on doors and beg first and, chop firewood or whatever. But I'm just saying, my kids are just starving to death. Yeah, I'll engage in some criminal activity. But barring that, not going to happen. I feel bad when I'm on somebody's property, pick up a rock I really like, and I'll ask him. One time I was on like a 12,000-acre ranch. I said, can I have this rock? The guy just laughed. He said, Alex, you're something else. I've known you since high school, and I could give you $1 million and come back in 10 years, and it'd all be there, and you'd give it back. And he went on to say, and by the way, there are not a lot of people like that. And I'm not saying I'm some goody two-shoes. I just do not understand the fall and the rot of society. I just do not understand it. Because all these disconnected people that have never had to live in the real world, they just think cheating and lying and stealing is cute and funny. That's what happens at these Grubert events when he's on C-SPAN with a bunch of other professors. And he goes, and you know, I'm here to teach the undergrads how to lie and how to cheat and, you know, how to be successful. And they're all hanging on his every word. And so what's happened is a lot of people discovered the New World Order and corporatism and the world government, and they decided to join with it. I'll never forget, I went to a big conference, a Smart Growth conference in 1998. Michael Dell was there, interviewed him, a bunch of other people. They had all these big former Dallas Cowboys and people, famous ones I grew up watching that were part of it, and they had all the big banks, and they had like 5,000 people there, and it was a big UN-sanctioned deal. And I'd go up to him and I'd say, you know, in these documents, you admit you're taking people's private property and then building on it later, and this is really just like a form of land grab. I'll never forget, I didn't have the camera running, and this famous Dallas Cowboy goes, of course that's what it is, you dumb son of a bitch. Get the hell out of my way. Big white guy. He was just, get out. He's big realtor up in Dallas. He just pushed past me. He's just like, of course, yeah. It's just the fact is, I was like, you know, 20-something-year-old investigative reporter. I'm like, this is really wrong. They're taking ranchers' farms outside town and not even paying them for it, and then they build on it. Well, of course we are. Get out of my... And you know, Michael Dell would just sit there laughing at me. When I'd talk to him, he was just like, sort of laughing, like... See, they all knew. It was like, of course, kid. So it wasn't that I was ever even that smart. I just didn't join with them like everybody else does. Almost everybody else who's smart decides to be evil. That's the big revelation that's been hitting me stronger and stronger. Because I've never thought I was that smart. I'm naive, actually. And you know what? The public kind of likes getting screwed. That's what the elites always tell me. They go, Alex, they don't want to not be screwed. They'll screw each other. They'll screw you. Might as well screw them. Take care of your family. You know what? I'm not doing that. But that's the moment we've come to, is that I went and investigated family ranches and things that went back over 100 years where they were ranching and everything, and they were just taking their ranches all over outside Austin. And today they got big mansions built on them. And they took them and said it was going to be for the earth and the golden cheek warbler. It was all a lie. And, of course, they knew that. And it was a big organized crime feeding frenzy of everyone running around wanting to get rich. There were no liberals at that meeting. Their liberal outfits were their camouflage. The minute, just like Hillary Clinton, the minute you'd actually talk to them and there wasn't a camera on, they go, of course that's what it is. And just laugh at me. And that's why Hillary has her public side, and then she has her private side. In public, she's like, oh, I love black people. In private, she's like, tell that stupid N-word to get me a piece of cheesecake right now. Tell that dumb N-word. And her supporters know that. They like that too. That's how most of them are at the minion and even controller level. They're preying on people, and they want you poor, and they want you stupid, and they want you broke, and they want you unhealthy. I'm just coming to grips with the fact that they're not becoming more evil now. They're being forced to reveal who they always were in the media. They don't let you into it now unless you're a soulless, evil piece of filth. And the good news is their whole system's falling. The bad news is that's going to induce them to support the end of the free press, because the only place they can exist is in a controlled medium where they're not allowed to have competition. And that's what they say themselves. So they're coming for us this year and next year. And get ready, because history's happening. No matter what happens with Donald Trump, he's only a manifestation of that. And I'm not a lesser of two evils guy, but let me tell you something. Shooting your mouth off to your biographer 20 years ago about a nice piece of tail. Shooting your mouth off about women throwing themselves at you when you're basically a movie star. When they have a double standard and all this other horrible stuff Hollywood does, including sexualizing children, that's all supposedly okay. But then when Trump, who's never claimed to be a perfect, snow-driven lily, does some stuff years ago, and they turn it into the biggest issue in the world, it's all a giant fraud. And you know what? I'm not even going to listen to the next stuff they got coming out, and you know they do. Because it's all a joke. It's all the devil, the literal devil, telling me, the beast system, telling me about somebody they hate, because he's against them, about some of the little sins he's committed, which he has repented for publicly, which they've never apologized for. The raping of women and the settling of the cases and all the evil. I don't want to hear it. And I don't want to hear the usual suspect, fake Republican, fake Christianoid, garbage that go to Bohemian Grove and have gay orgies. I don't want to hear from you about how he's immoral, having high school talk about women. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear your moralizing from the pulpit with these government-run churches. You can't vote for Trump. And the whole Glenn Beck thing. Glenn knows what they've got on Trump. He knows what's coming out. He thinks he's bet on the right horse. The establishment. We're going to play the James O'Keefe clips here, but first off, we need to fund this operation. We've got free shipping running tonight through tomorrow, and that's it. For the final showdown debate, we're going to be covering live straight through. We're not going to stop live coverage now from 11 a.m. That's 12 noon Eastern, right through to past midnight tonight Central. Live feed, 13 hours of coverage, starts at 11 a.m. Central. It's already started, Infowars.com/show, Infowars.com/app. Send that link out to your Facebook, your Twitter, YouTube. Tell everybody you know about Infowars.com/show so that people can watch our live analysis and the live feed of the debate and, of course, our post-debate analysis. But he needs to come out swinging in a big, big way. But we have this week's main debate mega special. Get Brain Force for a massive 25% off and get free shipping. These mega specials help fund the operation, the fight against the globalists. You can see that. The president attacking us, Hillary, the UN. I mean, we know what we're doing. And you get the highest quality products out there for the lowest prices. Brain Force already has hundreds of 5-star reviews that you can read for yourself at InfoWarsLife.com, along with all of the research and other information. Even the crew here at InfoWars can't stop talking about Brain Force and how it helps them double up their efforts. Secure your Brain Force at 25% off while supplies last at InfoWarsLife.com and help support the tip of the spear in the fight for liberty. And you can go read the 5-star reviews there on the site from third-party sites. Living Defense is now back in stock at InfoWarsLife.com. It's been sold out for a couple of months. It's harmful organism cleanser. You've heard the callers calling about it. It's amazing. Secure your bottle and start eliminating toxic organisms from your body naturally without harmful chemicals. Living Defense uses organic herbs and enzymes to help naturally cleanse harmful organisms from the body. Just read some of the reviews again at InfoWarsLife.com and see what Living Defense is doing for others. Stock up and start cleansing now at InfoWarsLife.com before we sell out again. That's InfoWarsLife.com. The reason that happens is it's got a whole bunch of ingredients. To source them all organic, then have them all pass California standards upon testing is the reason. This is a very complex formula. It's got a lot of herbs and known compounds to flush out the body in a healthy, clean, easy way. True game changer. So free shipping as well for the mega debate special. InfoWarsStore.com is the umbrella site. InfoWarsLife.com is the nutraceuticals subsection to get your supplements. X2's changed my life. Super Male Vitality's changed my life. Living Defense has changed my life. It's all amazing. Check it out today. And the Hillary for Prison shirt is at cost, $9.95. Kind of redundant, though. It is at cost for $9.95 when shipping is being applied, but I guess now it's not at cost. I'm so truthful, I just got to even catch something on air. Since we did another special that overlaps another special, it's very affordable, put it to you that way. $9.95, those are going to sell out. We also have the Don't Tread on Me. Okay. the limited edition Don't Tread on Me, Lock Her Up at InfoWarsStore.com. And please support our local affiliates as well. Now, before I go any further here, I want to start getting into this James O'Keefe, because it's so critical that everybody understand that the White House is saying there's no election fraud, it doesn't exist, it's not happening, but then mainstream media will not air the video he has with the national director of the main organization that has met 300-plus times now. It was 200. The number's growing, we've learned, as the records are being examined via FOIA by Breitbart, 340 times at the White House, and he's got his top minion on video saying, we do whatever we want. We do this all the effing time, bussing in people to vote over and over again. Doesn't matter if journalists catch us because the media won't cover it. I mean, you are seeing all of this, and it's in the WikiLeaks. New bombshell video just released by James O'Keefe on massive voter fraud. And it's all up on drudgereport.com. It's all up on Infowars.com. Get them out to everybody. This is so important. This is about the integrity of our republic. Let's go to part one. Here it is.
It doesn't matter what the freaking legal and ethics people say. We need to win this motherfucker.
Hillary is aware of all the work that you guys do, I hope.
The campaign is fully in it.
And then they tell Hillary what's going on.
Well, I mean, Hillary knows through the chain of command.
Yeah.
I'm not suggesting we wait around. We need to start this right away.
Okay.
On every one of these fronts.
Okay.
What I call it is conflict engagement.
That's your version of reenfranchisement.
Conflict engagement in the lines at Trump rallies. We're starting anarchy here.
This is part one of our undercover investigation into the dark, backroom dealings of the Hillary Clinton presidential campaign. The culmination of a year-long investigation infiltrating the machine from the bottom all the way to the White House. There are concerns this election will be rigged. What you're about to see will make you uncomfortable and angry. It's graphic, uncensored, and disturbing. Our attorneys say there is strong evidence of criminality, and this is just part one. A lot of pre-union guys? They'll do whatever.
Oh, yeah.
You want. And they're rock and roll.
So I'm basically Deputy Rapid Response Director for the DNC for all things Trump on the ground. Nobody's really supposed to know about me.
No, I'm saying, we have mentally ill people who we pay to do Make no mistake.
This guy named Cesar Vargas. I got a priest to cry on camera once.
Brad and Bob and Lux and myself are all part of the old school method where it doesn't matter what the freaking legal and ethics people say. We need to win this motherfucker.
So Bob is really good friends with him, and talked to him this afternoon, and they are all in. If we can get 25 grand, they're all in.
There is a narrative that supporters at Trump rallies are violent and dangerous, looking to beat up protesters who don't agree with them. But our undercover investigation into the Hillary Clinton Democratic Party machine reveals a very different story.
If you're there and you're protesting and you do these actions, you will be attacked at Trump rallies. That's what we know.
So that's part of the process of eliciting the reaction.
The whole point of it is we know that Trump's people will freak the out. His security team will freak out, and his supporters will lose their.
This is Scott Fogle. He is the National Field Director for Americans United for Change. He used to work for People for the American Way, an organization funded by George Soros. He also has his own company called the Fogle Group. He is one of the dark operatives for the Clinton campaign.
And it goes on and on and on. And if you're a radio listener, the arrogance in this guy's eyes, the feeling of we're in charge, we're the boss. It's like a spirit. They all have this crazed, hateful, sniveling wimpiness that they then want to puff up and then again run our lives, tell us how to speak, tell us how to live. And they're always nastily, giggling and simpering and like criminals out of a cartoon. But when you study criminology, that's really how these people act. And I don't care who they are or what they're doing. I mean, O'Keefe can walk into Acorn after Acorn facility and go, I've got child sex slaves. They go, fantastic. We're ready to run the op right now. All right, I'm bringing these sex slaves in, and we want to just pay the taxes and give the Democratic Party money. We'll help you run the op. Yes, sir. And I read the op-eds. There was one in CNN this morning about, thank God America's not about to be white anymore, and whiteness is evil, and we got to watch them. But, you know, now it's okay to stand for the flag because now America's brown. I mean, it's getting weird, folks. I mean, this is freakazoid. Now, here is Matt Dubiel, who is the station manager and news director of one of our great affiliates that's been carrying us, I think, for 5-6 years in Chicago. And he was one of the people that had, like, I think it was like 7, 8, 9 million last time I checked, cell phone video that he got. And he also had some other higher def stuff that his wife got. They're down there at the famous Chicago one that the media blamed on Trump. And he saw it, and it was all their people attacking. If it wasn't for his footage getting out and a few others, it would have sold that it was actually Trump people that did it. But we knew day one, and then from our sources discovered who was behind it. It turns out we were dead on as usual. That's why they hate our guts, folks. We know we're on them. And our investigators, O'Keefe's investigators, linking up with Drudge and others, is an unstoppable team, folks. Let's play the next clip.
This is what they're not really talking about at that event. It was a peaceful event until the moment when they announced that it was canceled or postponed for safety concerns. And then you saw all the people that were in the crowd that were virtually sleeper cells. And I don't want to use that term because I know that they weren't.
No, that's what it is. They're hired by George Soros. He's taking credit. Hillary, and they're blaming Sanders. It's incredible. They paid him to do it. They're under orders. They're mercenaries. And they go in and they do this. And as soon as they knew that happened, okay, now we're not going to disrupt Trump. Now we're going to activate because our threats work to shut it down. And now we're going to cause a melee so they can run headlines saying the most dangerous place to be in the world is a Trump rally for a chilling effect. That's Matt Dubiel, station manager at AM 1530 WCKG. Again, AM 1530 WCKG. I'm never really good about plugging our affiliates and appreciating them properly. I apologize to all of them. They're all such great people and such patriots. I'm just so busy battling the New World Order and trying to keep track of what's happening there that I never really service our affiliates properly. But I'm going to try to hire some people here in the next few months to actually start trying to do that with the affiliate relations. So we're just very thankful, but know that I'm in the middle of a battle, just like you're in the middle of a battle. So you're very much appreciated. So are the listeners. So many listeners send emails and don't get responses because we don't really do auto responses. And they get pissed off at us. Listen, none of it's personal, folks. I am just fighting 18 hours a day right now. Understand that we're at the parapet at the Alamo here. We're going on to the end, whatever the cost may be. We'll defend this republic. But just know that we are all overworked. We're all basically punch drunk at this point and just moving forward. So I want to thank you all for your support. Now let's go to the latest clip. Now, again, it's 16 minutes long. It's up on Infowars.com. If you want to see the whole thing. That is Vogel being questioned by their investigators about voter fraud, election fraud. Because when you organize a bunch of voters to engage in fraud, it's then election fraud. Individual doing it is voter fraud. Organized voter fraud is election fraud. And there's also electronic election fraud. So 3 different types. Rigging the election, video 2, mass voter fraud. Let's start playing a few minutes of this while this guy that's smarter than everybody else talks about stealing our republic and robbing democracy.
The question is whether when you get caught by a reporter, does that matter? Because does it turn into an investigation or not? In this case, in this state, the answer is no. Because they don't have any power to do anything. Right. So this is sort of maybe not stuff for the general, but stuff to maybe hold off until. No, I think you could do it for the general. You have to do it in multiple states. Okay. So what you do is you implement the plan on a much bigger scale to implement a massive change in state legislatures and in Congress. So you aim higher for your goals. And then you implement it.
Hit pause. We're going to come back in the next 5 minutes, and I'm going to play more of this, but I want to back up to the start. Battleground Texas is part of this, and they caught them a few years ago in Texas saying, we're going to have all the illegals and everybody else vote 10 times. Texas will go blue. This is a military takeover. And you heard him saying, we're doing this now at the state legislature level. We cannot be stopped. And then he looks at the camera person and says, what are they going to do? We're in control now. This is called tyranny, folks. We're in control. We're above the law. By the way, guess what Hillary did at the foundation? Nobody cares if she stole billions of dollars from Haitian kids. It's because they're liberal. It's okay to kill them, you know, because liberals are doing it. Turns out they stole the furniture from the State Department, too. And there was an FBI investigation of that. I mean, these are criminals with incredible criminal energy. They are a criminal force. Stay with us. Infowars.com, folks. They're not censoring that yet, but they're trying to, Google and others. That's come out in new documents being released. They're planning to take over the web. CNN and others are now cutting satellite feeds whenever WikiLeaks is brought up. And Drudge just has the entire devastating rundown on that. New Bill Clinton sexual assault accuser goes public for first time. There's video of that. We're going to be playing that coming up. WikiLeaks dump number 12. Podesta email reveals cozy relationship with Hollywood and how they're directing the news media. Soros mentioned 50 times. Memo, Google Schmidt working directly with the campaign. Well, they've already pledged that to manipulate traffic and cover up stuff for Hillary. Imagine how busy Hillary's people are. Like, they run the New York Times. They run all the major networks. All stories get approved that, you know, deal with their agenda, from global warming to the campaign. And then they also tell Google what to do with search terms, like delist Donald Trump completely. Remember that? And then we expose it like whack-a-mole. Then they stop for a while but pop back up. I mean, it's just unbelievable. We're actually in a battle with authoritarians trying to completely take over. And they say next they're going to shut us off next year. I'll never stop fighting, but okay, the American people want that. I mean, I guess I'll just boy voyage. That's okay, whatever. All you idiots out there that think you're going to get some free stuff now, they are going to rape you financially. Woo! Man, you get ready. Oh, boy, I tell you what, get ready. You have never been raped like you're about to get raped. I mean, they have got their knives out. They're sharpening them like a big old Christmas hog they got laid out. Trump wanted to cut taxes 50% and make you rich. Not going to happen now. They have their way. They're going to hurt you good. There's a new video. O'Keefe explains how the Dems commit the fraud. Just exactly what Larry Nichols keeps saying. We go to the poor areas. We got a list of dead voters, people that don't vote. We load people on, poor people, black, white, doesn't matter. We take them to different polling places, and they vote 10 times a day, Alex. I've been telling you that for a year. That's what they're doing now. They're loading the buses up, Alex. And they're doing the early voting, Alex, and they're going to vote again. But we don't need him, who helped get the Clintons actually elected and was their handler. We have the national director, the head guy funded 340 times at the White House the last 2 years. And here's his main adjunct, Mr. Vogel, bragging. Let's play some more of the Veritas piece.
The question is whether when you get caught by a reporter, does that matter? Because does it turn into an investigation or not? In this case, in this state, the answer is no. Because they don't have any power to do anything. Right.
So this is sort of maybe not stuff for the general, but stuff to maybe hold off until.
No, I think you could do it for the general. You have to do it in multiple states.
Okay.
So what you do is you implement the plan on a much bigger scale. You implement a massive change in state legislatures and in Congress. So you aim higher for your goals, and then you implement it across every Republican-held state.
That's the deputy director of People for the American Way.
Starting on the grassroots.
All right, that's enough. Now, coming up, I'm going to play more of this. They talk about how to bring the buses in, how to have people vote 10 times apiece, all on video, and how they're organizing it nationwide. And he looks right at the person filming him and goes, with a hidden camera, and goes, what are they going to do? We run the state, we run the laws, we run the country. There's nothing they can do. No. And he is on such a power trip. Just, it's his to steal his election. He runs it now. I mean, good God. But just like Nazis, they're run with an ideology where they're the good guys. And he's just all excited and like gripping his glasses. All, we run things. They can't stop us now. See, they've got the FBI. They've got the courts. They've got it. They've got it. They think they do. And who cares if journalists catch it on tape? What are you going to do? Now, he's a busy guy, so I'm not going to keep him long. But just like we talk about James O'Keefe and Project Veritas devastating the criminal Democratic Party and the Republicans that work hand in glove with them, Joe Seals just started Right Side Broadcasting, I don't know, in the last year because he was just simply, wanting to see Trump speeches, but the media wasn't carrying all of them. He went out, discovered it, how he could hook up, how he could subscribe to the feeds, began putting it up there, and now is funding just via donations the whole launch of a radio/TV network that already reaches millions of people every day now. And again, this is how we defeat the globalists. We build our own system, we tune out of them, and we build such a tsunami of new media that they have big trouble shutting us down. And we educate people to value independent new media. That's what it all comes down to. Right Side Radio on YouTube or rsbn.tv. A lot of folks are saying, why do you have Michael Savage on promoting his show and his book? I'm not charging him to do that, or why do I have these folks on? Because we're all in this together, folks. We have foreign megabanks funding organizations run by Robert Kramer, national organizations, top Democrat organizations, with Scott Fovel and others running around bragging. Yes, we've got illegals voting. Yes, we're busing in people to vote 10 times. And it doesn't matter because we control the press and the police, and we're above the law. I mean, I just played that clip twice in the last hour. And they go on in this long 16-minute video about just he grips his glasses and shakes with pleasure and says, and there's nothing they can do to stop us. We run everything. And we're going to overthrow all the legislatures of the states now, and we're taking over. And then we're like, hey, you better have an ID to vote. People are voting over and over again. And they go, that's racist. Hey, Obamacare doubles and triples prices. That's racist. Hey, you're starting war with Russia. That's racist. Hey, you're funding jihadis, enslaving women. That's racist. That's all they do. WikiLeaks comes out, and it turns out Hillary's meeting with foreign banks for the takeover of the U.S. and bringing us into bankruptcy. Trump covers it last Friday. And what did the national media say? That's racist. They said that's anti-Semitic. They said Alex Jones and Donald Trump. That was the main ones last week. They're anti-Semitic now. What? That's right. We're against George Soros, so we're anti-Semitic. George Soros is a freaking Nazi collaborator who rounded up thousands of his fellow Jews on record, went on 60 Minutes and said he's not ashamed of it. What parallel dark satire universe am I living in that I'm anti-Semitic because I'm against some freak who the new James Bond villain in the last movie is based on? MI6 helped write the script. They hate him. He tried to overthrow England. He brags about it. He's a monster who just overthrew Ukraine. He brags about it on CNN. We're against him overthrowing our country, and we're anti-Semitic. Then fine, call me that. You people are scum is what you are. Now, I wanted to get Joe. He's a busy guy. He's a humble guy. I didn't even want to come on. But I said, come on, just talk about what you're doing, how exciting it is, where this is going, and, how they've got the debate tonight with their feeds. We've got the feeds as well. We're going to be here. The great part is they shut us down. They're up. We need more of this. We need more resistance because we're this close to winning. Joe, I mean, do you agree with me that really nationalism, the tide is rising? We've got a Nigel Farage interview coming up, by the way. David Knight's about to conduct that. We're going to have that for everybody soon. He's out in Vegas. I mean, so much exciting things are happening, sir.
Absolutely, Alex, and it's really good to be with you. We appreciate everything you do. We're big fans of yours here at Right Side. And, it really is just, it's going to take people like us, just regular, average, normal guys, to do the job that the media won't do. We're fed up with it. We're tired of it. We have noticed our broadcast, getting so many more viewers over the last several months because people finally are waking up and seeing this corrupt crap that's going on for all to see. They're not even trying to hide it anymore. And I think that people are finally, thank God, starting to wake up to that. And I mean that because we've seen people flock to us. We've seen people flock to InfoWars, to, people who are finally, deciding to come out and just say enough. And that's why we started Right Side, is to give an alternative to all the crap that's going on, which just, I mean, it's just disgusting.
Well, Joe, what makes me so exciting is, and I don't want to talk about your success story, not to brag about you, I know you're a humble guy, but as a microcosm for others. I mean, you were a stay-at-home dad. I mean, I've got your bio right here, like a year ago, and then now you're reaching conservatively 15 million people a week. I mean, I can go see your numbers on YouTube alone. We're reaching 30 million a week. I mean, I hope you reach 100 million, 5 billion. We're going to beat these people, but it's down to the wire, folks. It's down to the wire, and people have to understand that we can defeat the globalists, but we've all got to get aggressive. And it may be putting a bumper sticker on your car, it may be calling it talk radio or starting your own podcast or whatever it is, or it might be legal stunts. I'm $100,000 we put out to go out and yell Bill Clinton's a rapist if you ideologically believe that, which he settled cases. This is war, folks. They want a war, they're getting one. Go ahead. I mean, tell folks about your success story.
Absolutely. Listen, you're right. It is a war, and we all have to come together. Drudge, InfoWars, us, Breitbart. There's a lot of new media out there that are doing some really good things, and it's taking. And
America is fighting for its life. That is not rhetoric. We are fighting for our lives here, people. Actual hardcore evil people are taking over that want to hurt us. We're not getting conquered by Boss Hogg. We're getting conquered by really bad people. Go ahead.
Right, because we didn't want to do this. I didn't want to do this. I had a nice life, and my life over the last year has been, I don't spend time with my family anymore. And the reason I justify this every day is because I want my kids to grow up in a world that makes sense. I want my kids to grow up in a world that is free of all this tyranny that's going on right now. And I don't see my family anymore. And these guys, listen, let me tell you something about our company. The guys that are out there traveling the country following Trump around, we have cameras at almost every event now. We're talking about lawyers, EMTs. These are people that don't have formal experience in media who just decided enough is enough. They may not be the best at what they do, camera working wise, but the key is to go out and show people the movement.
I wasn't good at it 20-something years ago when I started. And again, they say necessity is the mother of invention. And what's so beautiful about this, Joe, is that they've pushed too far. And as you said, they're forcing people to finally unify, and the sleeping giant is rising. I mean, you were a successful businessman, but you were in between jobs in this economy, a stay-at-home dad, and then you started this in July of 2015. And so now a year and a quarter later, look at what you're doing. Let's talk about that.
Absolutely. We have 100 million views almost now on our YouTube channel. Our Trump speeches consistently get hundreds of thousands, some of them millions of views. We're also, thanks to people like Matt Drudge, who have begun linking to a lot of our Trump rallies and speeches. And, I want to bring up another point is that, Drudge said the other day, he sent out a tweet that was very telling and very true, which was that, the mainstream media can't cover a lot of this WikiLeaks stuff because so much of it involves them. And people like CNN openly telling their viewers the other day, oh, you can't look at this stuff. It's illegal. You can't look at it. And people are starting to call BS on that. And we're just so happy to be a part of all this and, bringing this to light. And look, this is not about us. I don't care. I'd like to be successful. I'd like to make money. But this is country first. Okay. Well,
we're not going to have the platform that allowed us to be successful if we let these globalists take it. And again, let's be clear. Let's be 100% clear. Your feeds, a lot of times, aren't even picked up by the media, but because you pick up the feeds, then they get put on other channels and reach tens of millions more, like our channels.
Absolutely.
So when you talk about reaching 100 million people, brother, it's way more than that, and that's exponential. And again, it's the fact that you took action as one person and now have hundreds of people working through you and with you just in a volunteer operation, but the expenses get paid, and you're turning the tide. This is a game changer.
Absolutely. This is the thing. It's so true. When we go, and I've been to some of these Trump rallies now, and I sit right there in the press pen with all the rest of the Stolenterates there, and they refuse. This is, the one thing that got us, that I said, let's go to these events and start shooting instead of just paying for access to the feeds. Let's go, because Trump would always say, the media never shows the crowd. And it's true. you see him,
and they weren't just cutting the crowds. You've caught them. They cut the feed a lot of times.
They cut the feed
when the black preachers and the black folks are running up hugging Trump, and there's this great moment, and Trump has tears in his eyes, and everybody's coming together. You hear Reuters go, "Cut it, cut it, cut it now."
Absolutely. And we actually offered that cameraman from Reuters the job. I never heard from him. I hope he's okay.
He says no. He goes, no. You can fire me or whatever. I'm filming this. And they go, nope, that's it. Cut it. Cut the feed.
Yeah. So I think he refused, and they finally just shut the feed internally. So, but the thing is, we wanted to show the massive crowds at these events. You're talking about 25, 30,000 people at these events, and it's as simple as spinning the camera around. I've seen Trump call, turn those cameras around and show them, and the guys are sitting down in chairs. They have a producer's line open, and I know what's being said to them. Don't move that camera. A lot of these people want to. I've talked to these cameramen myself who work for some of these big networks at the events. My guys talk to them all the time, and they say, you guys are the future of the media. You guys, I know that they like us, and I know that some of them are even Trump supporters, but they have direct orders not to spin the camera.
Oh, absolutely. And now this is coming out. We have dozens and dozens of videos now. In fact, we ought to do a compilation video about when America became authoritarian, where CNN, MSNBC, when somebody talks about Bill Clinton and rape, somebody talks about Bill Clinton and corruption or Hillary Clinton and WikiLeaks, they cut the feed. So here's Cuomo from his storied family of corruption. Here he is on CNN, and he's saying, you're not allowed to look at WikiLeaks. It's illegal. You've got to go through us. And then it cuts to yesterday when somebody brings up WikiLeaks, and they literally cut the feed, and he makes a joke about it. This is what we're talking about. And, folks, they're not just going to do this in mainstream TV. They're coming for us next because we're already bigger than them, and they know it, okay? And every week there are new people popping up that are incredibly successful. They're in panic mode. There are high school students, folks, that are putting out videos weekly that get an average of 10 million views. Some of them get 60 million views per video that are political. The Daily Show doesn't get that many viewers in a month. They're crapping themselves. They're in panic. They must shut us down. We are winning. They are losing. Trump's 15 points ahead in internal polls. That's why he says it's all rigged, because he knows when they've got a Reuters poll that samples 40-something% more Democrats than Republicans, who's going to win that poll, folks? I mean, they think we're so frickin' stupid. Excuse me. I'm ranting with the CEO of Right Side Broadcasting. Go ahead, sir.
I wanted to let everybody know that the Trump campaign is also finally getting wise to all this, and they are tonight for the first time, and this is the first time I'm actually announcing this, and I hope it's okay with them that I do, but they are tonight going to take their message straight to the people after the debate is over with tonight. We know what CNN's going to say. We know what MSNBC is going to say. We know what they're all going to say.
Hillary could fall down and die on the stage, and they would say she won.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And so tonight, the Trump campaign is holding their own post-game debate show with their people, and it will be a live exclusive on Trump's Facebook, and we're the ones that are going to be there filming it. You can also see it on rspn.tv, our website, but we will be there right
And I should add, you're graciously allowing us to have your feed as well, so we'll be able to simulcast with you?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Wonderful. So no matter where you get it, over at Right Side Broadcasting or Trump's Facebook or InfoWars, more channels just means more people, our audience, their audience, all together. And listen, we have over 1 million tuning in on our streams. You've got millions. Trump will have millions. Watch, we'll end up probably having 10 million viewers to the post game with Trump. Isn't that awesome?
That is amazing, and this is what it's about. It's about finally breaking that stronghold that the mainstream media has, and we're doing it one viewer at a time. And with this broadcast, we're going to reach tens of millions of people tonight. And this is what it's going to take. It's taking people like us that have finally had enough. And I'm telling you, there's a growing number of those.
Wow,
people.
Joe Seals, this is so exciting. Thank you for announcing this here. Take a few minutes to talk about it. Then I'm going to put a report out. This is great. No, in fact, it's good to announce this. Trump is going to just ignore the mainstream media, wade through them, go into Right Side Broadcasting, and boom, have his own press conference. This is genius. Oh, my gosh. Please lay it out for us.
So it's not actually Trump, but all of the members of the campaign are the surrogates. We're having people like Giuliani. All those people will be taking their message directly to the people via Facebook and also through our website.
But I would imagine Trump will probably come over, too, knowing him.
He may do so, and we'll be ready for him if he is. The broadcast will begin about 5 or 10 minutes after the debate is over with. From the spin room, we'll be live from the spin room in Las Vegas. We got two camera guys out there ready to go, and we're going to take the message straight to the people and say, look, the mainstream media. We know what you guys are up to.
Well, that's perfect. Link up with David Knight, because he's out there. He's interviewing Nigel Farage right now. So certainly I'd like to get David Knight in there with you, and we'll be going back and forth between our feeds and your feeds. Amazing. RSBN.TV, RSBN.TV, Joe Seals. Joe, since you mentioned it, let me play this clip of Cuomo saying you only get WikiLeaks from the media. You, the citizens, aren't allowed to see the corruption that, by the way, CNN is involved in, getting direct orders from Hillary and covering stuff up. So he's saying, you don't dare look at this or we'll arrest you. I'm a knuckle-dragging thug. Next day, they cut the feed on somebody talking about it. Here it is.
Also interesting is, remember, it's illegal to possess these stolen documents. It's different for the media. So everything you learn about this, you're learning from us. And in full disclosure, let's take a look at what is in there and what it means. Joining us now, CNN's.
Well, on the character issue, the public, 2/3 or more of the public knows that Hillary Clinton's a liar. She can't be trusted. And now the two faces of Hillary Clinton are coming out. The fact through WikiLeaks that she says one thing and...
Oh, no. All right, let's see if we can get Congressman Collins back. Obviously, we just lost his satellite feed. That sucks.
By the way, folks, satellite feeds don't go doo and put up color bars. That's their new thing. When someone doesn't like something, you just cut them off. So there's the congressman being cut off. That's why we have Right Side. It's why we have InfoWars. It's why we have Drudge. It's why I want everybody to start their own TV networks, because out of this will come the new media based on honor and justice and freedom and liberty. And hopefully never again will we rot and turn into something that makes Pravda, 50 years ago look truthful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I need to also, there's something else going on tonight, too, that I can't announce on air right now, but I want to talk to you about it off air, or give the information to somebody that we'll be covering also tonight an hour before the debate. It's a big event that's going to take place right before the debate, about an hour before, so a press conference. And I want to talk to you about that on the air. You guys are welcome to use our feed of that as well.
Thank you, sir. We're going to be going to break here in a few minutes, so I'll talk about that war game with that and our lead producer, Nico Acosta. So we'll talk to you in about 3 minutes and let you get out of here, because I know you're a busy man. Joe Seals, RSBN TV CEO, started at about 16 months ago, now reaches hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of millions of people, and is totally freaking out. We have the head of CNN in the WikiLeaks, but also in public statements saying he should have never covered any of Trump's statements or rallies. So again, they're now admitting that they're trying to black this out. That's why what we're doing, what you're doing, is so essential.
Absolutely. And, as I said before, we're completely supported. This is another thing, just how, for the same reason that Trump did not take donations from, during the primaries. He's a political outsider. We're media outsiders. We don't take money from, I've been approached by venture capitalists. I've been approached by people who own bigger media companies who, want to be involved in our operations somehow. I know what that leads to. So we refuse it every time, because we know we're going to have anybody telling us what we can and can't have or say on our own network. This is the people's network, just like you guys over at InfoWars are doing. We are solely funded by the donations from our viewers.
And by the way,
viewers have been
that's how I started out early as well, and then I went basically to direct sales of products to fund ourselves. Other people are now following that model. I would suggest you guys do that with more than just coffee mugs or T-shirts. Those are great. I would go full on with self-funding because during a war like this, you can get the donations you need, but during lean times when things aren't as hot, we've got to really build the base for the next big war. And so that's why it's so essential people make donations there at your site and support the work you're doing, because you can do so much more if more funds come in, correct?
Absolutely. And, it's only because of the viewers and the donations that we're able to travel. And I tell people this all the time that, other than the YouTube ad revenue, which isn't that great, we are funded by people who, when they pay and they donate to us, we have a PayPal account, we have an address they can mail donations to. It all goes into one fund, and it's solely for travel and for equipment and purchase, so that our guys on the road can have the things that they need. And, I understand our goal is to be relevant after November 8th, when all the Trump speeches stop. We're working on building a network. We hope to be able to work with you guys on some of that stuff. We're adding new shows. We're adding new programming. we have some pretty big names that are going to come to our network after the election. Some people that have been in the news lately that I can't talk about right now, but these people will be coming to our network and having their own shows. We already have 2 shows, as you know, the Wayne Dupree Show, which is simulcast live on RSBN, 9 o'clock Eastern Time on weekdays, and also Pastor Mark Burns has a show on Sunday. And so what we hope to do is to do what you guys are doing and follow your model. And you guys have been incredibly influential on us when we look at our business model and what we want to do. And so we hope that you guys will also play a part.
You bet, brother. It's very exciting. Well, listen, they're coming for our guns. They're coming for our kids. They're coming with forced inoculations. It's all in the WikiLeaks. It's worse than we thought. I got to tell you, InfoWars, our crew, our guests, our research has been so validated. Not tooting our horn, but and everybody that bet on us to support us in the last decade, like Drudge and others did to help build us up, understanding we've got to have a resistance. It's time to pay that forward onto others to build the infrastructure to really beat this. Because let me tell you something. I've studied history, and I've lived a lot, and I've seen a lot. The crop of evil we have running things right now is the most wicked, twisted threat ever. And that's why it's so good to just grow the resistance and be part of this. And we're so close to winning, folks, but they are coming out to the free press. The answer is innovate to where they can't stop us and to support InfoWars, Right Side, Drudge, and everybody, because we are in a war for basic liberty. This is a complete and total survival operation.
We're on the march. The Empire's
it's life and death,
on
folks.
The run.
It's all about survival.
Alex
like
Jones
Trump says, it's over. It's over if we don't stop. Only 19 days to the epic general election. Freedom versus tyranny, nationalism versus the global scourge of the New World Order. I'm Alex Jones, your host. We have more of the James O'Keefe video because we got Larry Nichols on the line right now, former Clinton insider. Will you guys reprint me the big Inquirer article that was on Drudge yesterday? I want to go back over that. I know Nichols is one of the sources on that. He told us on air months ago this was coming out. But I want to get into what's going to be coming out in this issue that I get set to come out tomorrow or so, or maybe even today. I went and checked the local grocery store and couldn't find one today. Maybe it's about to get stocked. But Hillary's fixer breaks ranks. I arranged sex tryst for her with men and women. Now, I know Nichols is one of their sources on the vote rigging and bringing people around to vote 10 times. But before we go there, it's just important to add that we now have the Democrat Party high-ups on video admitting they're engaged in election fraud. And exactly what Larry Nichols talked about, bussing people around. So we're going to play part of that, the latest James O'Keefe release as well with Larry Nichols. But before we go there, free store-wide shipping on all items, from non-GMO heirloom seeds to books to films to all the nutraceuticals to Hillary for Prison shirts, Molon Labe shirts, store-wide free shipping for a limited time. We're doing this because, obviously, we have the final debate tonight, and it's important to get folks to try some of these amazing products. By the way, I had this idea to do it a week ago, and we already got it made. It already happened. Trump is my president, a limited edition shirt that will only be sold through the election. And that means you've got to order it now so you get it. We're 19 days out. Trump is my president. It's a red shirt, so you can go to the polling place and be seen in your red shirt so that it's very, very clear that Trump is the winner, especially in battleground states. So that shirt, $19.95, limited edition, is available at InfoWarsStore.com or by calling toll-free 888-253-3139. No reviews because it just, I just had the idea last week, started making them last week. They have now been produced. They're now being 18-wheelered here, so that'll start shipping out later this week or next week. That's why you got to get your order in now. It is a total limited edition. In fact, I moved so quick. Does it have anything on the back? I don't think I was wanting Infowars.com, legalize freedom. Yeah, it does. Yeah, let's see the back. Good. I mean, so much happens. Yeah, there it is, Infowars.com, legalize freedom. This is an absolute one-time limited edition because a lot of folks have had the idea. I don't even know where it came from, but to wear red, to point this out that you're red state, Infowars.com, legalize freedom. Available at InfoWarsStore.com or call toll-free 888-253-3139. Now, we also have the last run of Hillary for Prison shirts. If you want to get those, they're available right now for $9.95. We also have Living Defense, amazing parasite detox product that's sold out most of the time. It's so hard to procure all the different ingredients. It's back in stock. And again, free shipping right now. Sign up for auto ship, an additional 10% off. So the specials just compile on top of each other and compound. We have 25% off on Brain Force, the amazing nootropic at InfoWarsStore.com. The debate mega special, free shipping, 25% off on a lot of different items. In fact, I don't even have time to tell you about all the specials. Just know these are all amazing products. InfoWarsLife.com, InfoWarsStore.com. And you heard the last fellow on from Right Side Broadcasting. I have everybody on who I think is pure of heart and having a big effect and taking action. We're going to lose if this is just about InfoWars. We're going to lose if this is just about Drudge or Breitbart or WorldNet Daily or Daily Caller. And none of us are perfect. The Democratic Party is the leading edge of the takeover right now, worldwide. Trying to start a war with Russia, you name it. We interviewed Jill Stein a couple days ago, and she concurred that, yeah, they're trying to start nuclear war. So, it's essential. The worst thing we can do around here is have them bring me jalapeno sausage during a break. You guys want to put an article up on screen or something for a sec, please? I don't believe anything comes out of Hillary Clinton's mouth, except that she says she has allergies and it makes her cough, and it's been raining more than it has in decades here in Texas. And so we've had an incredible bloom of different plants, and I like to hike almost every morning. I didn't this morning. But let me tell you, it inflames the, I guess, the bronchioles or whatever, and also the esophagus. And then you get jalapenos or pepper on that, which I was eating a little bit of during the break, and it will hit you and hit you hard. So that was what was just happening right there. Well, it kind of feels good, though, once you get the little piece of pepper or jalapeno out of your throat. Okay. Now, Larry Nichols, again, has been the source for a lot of the big Inquirer reports. I know that he's been talking to the Inquirer. That's been on record. But there are obviously some other sources involved in this new big report we'll put on screen, and they're going to bring me a printout of it here in just a moment. But, Larry, you keep hammering that they're going to bust people around and steal the election. We now have high-level Democratic Party operatives on video saying that nobody's going to enforce the law. We don't care if the press catches us. We're just going to steal this election. And, by the way, we're going to steal all the states, too, and take over the country. And he just has this crazed power trip look in his eye. Who the hell are these people, Larry? You totally predicted this.
Well, Alex, the people are the machine. They're the people behind the Clintons. And remember, they're the proxy group. They're the people. I heard one of the little clips, and that's why I know the guy was telling the truth, because he said, you know, we've got these different blinds. It's a double blind, so you can't get it to Clintons. If somebody gets caught, well, it wasn't them. And they always set up people that'll fall on their sword for them. So this is the machine. You know, I warned Alex, I tried to warn Donald Trump. When you start running against Hillary, the world's going to change. It's not going to be, your world's going to come upside down. Well, look what's happened. Look at how they have done everything in their power, not just to beat him in the election, but to destroy this man. And they're going to cheat. They are going to, you know how I know there's going to be massive voter fraud? They're showing you there's going to be massive voter fraud. And it's the way they are lying about the polls. You see, they're showing Hillary way up in the polls, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 points ahead. And the reason they're doing that, Alex, is to justify when the actual election is run. If they were showing that they were dead even, and then all of a sudden she wins by 11 points, people are going to be suspect. But they know they're going to be bringing people in massive numbers. They're going to bring them to the inner cities. They're going to bus them in. They're going to van them in. And just think going from precinct to precinct in inner cities, bring 100 people in, and each one of them vote 4 or 5 times. Think about the massive number of votes that will accumulate. And you know what? That guy's right. We don't care if we get caught. Number one, is the media going to say anything about it? No, they've proven that. Number two, who are you going to call in the Justice Department to do anything about it? No one. They've already proven that. You know, people have no idea, Alex, when Hillary, if she gets elected, and I still pray to high heaven she does not, but if she gets elected within 90 days of the day she's sworn in, this country will be changed forever, forever, because they will use blackmail and extortion on every governor, every lieutenant governor, every congressman, every senator.
Well, that's what Scott Fovel says on the tape, and he's the national director. He starts salivating and says, and next we're taking over the legislatures.
They will. They will indeed. Now, may I give just a quick example of a poll?
Yes.
Show that you got proof. Yesterday, I couldn't help but notice, here comes a poll on Fox, and it's by Wall Street Journal and NBC. And the reporter on Fox, or the host, was saying, you know, this is a good poll. Basically, he was saying it was the gold standard of polls. Well, I went and looked at the internals of that poll. And see, Alex, people don't do this. But you go in, and it said they had interviewed 905 people, and that it had a plus or minus accuracy of 3.2%. Well, that's funny, because when you look inside, there are 3 categories of respondents to a poll. Number one is a hang-up, that somebody hangs up and doesn't take it. Number 2 is interview. Interview means, folks, somebody that started out taking the poll, but then for whatever reason quit. And then you have respondents. Now, respondents are the only people, Alex, you count in a poll. Statistically, that's it. And a respondent is somebody that answers 90% or better of the questions in the survey. Now, do you have any? Now, 905, you know, nationwide, that's not a very big sample anyway. But do you know how many people actually were respondents? 492. 492. When you use the standard basis by figuring margin of error, that puts it at 6-point margin of error plus, which means statistically that poll is zipped.
But I mean, for me, that is a gold standard compared to the other ones, where they'll get 40, 50, 60, 70% more Democrats in the sample than they do Republicans, and they admit in the methodology they're doing that. This is ridiculous.
Well, that's what they did in this poll. When you look at the poll, what you find out is 60% of the people that completed in that 492, 60% of them were, guess what, Democrats, to 40% Republicans.
And how do you get them to get the Republicans to hang up? I'll tell you, it's on record that I've got a few of these over the years. As soon as you start answering the way they don't want, it just disconnects. The phone disconnects. That's right. That's how they kick you out, and that's how they get more Democrats.
That's how you find out what happened to that 400 that they started out interviewing. Most of the time you would think that 400 would be people that hang up on the interviewer. No. What happened when somebody gives the answer they don't like, they hang up on them. They hang up. Now, it's linear. Every question in that poll that related to, do you want Hillary or Trump? Do you think Hillary's a better leader than Trump, or Trump a better leader? Every question that was relevant, guess what? 60-40, 60-40, 60-40. I'm telling you, the polls are rigged.
Well, Larry, that's indisputed, because that's how I was able to finish your sentence, even though I hadn't seen this particular poll. They've gone to a new level of fraud. Normally, they would have the independent vote, really know those were Democrats, skew it by demographic, or CNN just says, call us if you want to be in the poll. Then they cherry pick who they want. So there's different ways they do it, but only 2 or 3 different ways, as you know, as an expert that was involved in this. My question is, what are they going to do when the internal polls show Trump 5 to 15 points ahead, depending on which battleground state you're in? That's why he's saying it's rigged, because his internal polls show he's still ahead. He did lose some in this big scandal, but when he came out swinging last week and did a good job in the debate, he stabilized. So he knows he really should win in a landslide. He knows they have illegals voting. He knows they have dead people voting. So what does he do in the debate tonight?
What he has to do in the debate tonight, and I went on YouTube and just made a public thing to Trump telling him what I think he should do. Alex, he has no choice. Tonight, when he gets on that stage, although Chris Wallace seems to be affable, here's what Trump has to do. When he gets on that stage, he needs to close his eyes, Alex, and pretend there's nobody in that room, no interviewer, no Hillary. And when he gets 2 minutes, he needs to start talking about whatever the issue is he wants to talk about. He needs
to say, I want to talk directly to the American people.
There you go.
And say, if you're tired of the past and being ripped off and all the corruption, and you've seen all the rigging and the fake polls and the demonization of lies, if you want a real change, the whole establishment's against me. You've never seen anything like this. It's because they've got it rigged, a bunch of insiders. I'm going to bring in term limits. I'm going to cut your taxes. It's basic stuff that'll bring this country back. If you want to go with the old mafia, you want to buy their lies, you go ahead and vote for this lady right here. But I'm here to tell you, our internal polls show I'm way ahead. Then they got these polls where they sample 30, 40, 50, 60% more Democrats in the poll and then say that I'm losing. Folks, the fix is in, and I'm asking the American people, I've been fighting for you, but you got to fight for me. We're in this together.
That's right. And he's got to look right at the camera. When they start hollering at him, Mr. Trump, answer the questions. Don't even hear them. Go on and finish your statement. Look, somebody's going to say, well, that's not fair. Let me tell you, this gathering tonight is not going to be fair. If he whips Hillary every way but loose, the media is going to spin it the next day. You saw it happen with the second debate, Alex. The next day, the media is going to say he lost. The next day, the media is going to pull snippets out, and they're going to spin them the way they want to. So he's up against a stacked deck. Have courage. Look into that camera. Realize this is the last chance, Alex, he has to talk to 50 to 60 million
And
Americans.
Tell the American people it's their last chance.
That's right.
And point at Hillary and say you're a communist Chinese agent. You've been exposed with a shadow government. The WikiLeaks have destroyed you. You tried to bribe the FBI to say you didn't have classified documents. You should be in handcuffs right now for criminal espionage and racketeering. But since you mentioned it, here's the Project Veritas talking to the head of People for the American Way, the main Democrat organization out there getting voters, Scott Fovel, admitting the buses. Here it is.
You know what? We've been busing people in for 50 years, and we're not going to stop now.
This is part 2 of our undercover investigation into the dark, backroom dealings of the Hillary Clinton campaign. Part 1 blew up on social media, with many Americans wondering why the mainstream media wasn't covering the story. In fact, Project Veritas Action had television exclusives lined up around the country. Those television stations spiked the story at the last minute. Our sources tell us the reason they did so was fear of retaliation and retribution from a future Hillary Clinton administration. Truth is dangerous, especially when it challenges those in power.
All right. And then he goes on from there. So they're on video bragging, and later he says, nobody's going to stop us. There is no law. We run everything now. We've reached the tyranny tipping point. Larry Nichols.
Yes. You know, Alex, you and I talked some months ago now about we are in a velvet coup. We are actually in a coup d'etat. As a matter of fact, the other night I heard Newt Gingrich. He was quoting some friend of his that wrote an article and said, Newt Gingrich said, we are in a coup d'etat. He said, they are taking it over unless we stand up. That's why Trump has got to come forward tonight. And he's got to tell it. He's got to tell it all. You know, the Russian thing, he needs to say, hey, folks, they're claiming that WikiLeaks is Russia and I'm their big buddy. Let me ask you this, to a sane, rational human being. If you were Putin, and here is Donald Trump that's going to beef up our military, bring the military back to what it should be.
Stay right there. Stay right there. Absolutely. Stay there. All right, Larry Nichols is our guest. I want to get with him some into this big Inquirer piece. The WikiLeaks are so devastating. The whole world is turning against Hillary and this crime syndicate because they know how dangerous she is. You were getting into the fact that he's going to beef up our military. Why then would Russia be more pro-Trump? Well, because they understand how dangerous Hillary and the neocons are. Hillary now, it turns out in the WikiLeaks that the FBI was investigating her for stealing furniture from the State Department. I mean, these people are incredible, stingy, trashy people. I wanted to ask you about this, though. We had the chef on yesterday for the Clintons who worked for them for a very long time, and he said that they would call black servers the N-word. They would call Hispanics names, but they would call other people names. And then also she wrote lots of notes calling people the N-word. A former Clinton chef, again, that's up on Infowars.com, Tracy Martin. Larry Nichols, your experiences, what type of stuff did you ever hear come out of their mouths?
Well, let's see. How about calling Dickie Morris, that little fat Jew bastard? How about every black person that came in, specifically one guy that was kind of famous at the time, what was his name, the head of the Rainbow Coalition?
Jesse Jackson.
Jesse Jackson. They called him the N-word, left and right. And he and his N-word organization, yeah. No, I've heard them. Well, you don't have to be around them long until you'll hear that and worse. Ask anybody that was working with the Clintons when they were president. Ask the people that were walking up and down the halls in the White House when Hillary would come by and they'd jump in a closet not to have to pass her. No, don't tell me.
Well, let's expand on that. I've told people that were there that Jesse Jackson, when he had to bring women or kids around Bill, that he would like say, watch out. Now watch out, he'll grab you. And that he was actually scared of him.
Well, absolutely. And Ron Brown, you know, the head of commerce, that died in the plane crash. Well, do you know why Ron Brown got to be the head of the Commerce Department? Because Bill Clinton had accosted his daughter, his 16-year-old daughter. And Ron Brown found out about it. Well, then he gave him that appointment to cool him down. I mean, these people are scum, Alex. I've told you, we've told people, we've done everything we can to warn people, but they have got Joseph Goebbels working for them, just as if he were sitting in those offices, because they're doing just what we did when I was with them. You get control of the media, Alex, and you keep telling the American people everything that you want said over and over and over. And
I was about to say, when you see the head and the deputy head of top Democratic organizations literally with crazed looks in their eyes saying, we're going to steal the elections, we're going to steal the country, it's all ours, nobody can stop us. I mean, this is like a movie. I mean, these people are crazed.
They are. And you were talking about the stealing furniture out of the State Department. Don't you recall when they left the White House, when George Bush was good enough to let them take Air Force Two? They stole stuff out of the White House, stole Washington's china. They got fined $50,000 and had to bring the stuff back. But
no, I know. I mean, these are literally the daughter of an organized crime chief and a white trash scumbag. God, I can't believe it.
Well, but you have to believe it. You have to believe it. All of you have to know. And that's one of the things Trump needs to say tonight. Look, they say that I'm against all of Islam. Now, personally, Alex, I am. But that's me. That's not Trump. And then he needs to say, ladies and gentlemen, you know what I said? I said, as long as we're bringing people in from Syria that cannot possibly be vetted, what I said was we need to halt all of that until we get a system.
Sure. Stay there. I want to ask you, because you've been proven totally right, the next 19 days, what they're going to do, what Trump needs to do, and more about the latest Inquirer information. But clearly, they're going to try to steal it. How do we counter that? Wow, what a time to be alive, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Larry Nichols is our guest. Larry, we have the head of the New York elections, a Democrat admitting fraud's going on with people being bussed around to vote 10 times. We have the national coordinators for the Democrats met 340 times at the White House, admitting it and just openly saying, F them, we're taking over. I mean, it's very mafia. It's very aggressive. We played most of it in the first hour. It's up on Infowars.com. How do we stop them? And then if they do get in, they do have that criminal energy now in their eyes that I've seen in old film footage of communists and Nazis and stuff. They're going to make a crazed run at everybody. So all I can say is, boy, folks, I'm glad we got the Second Amendment to defend ourselves, because they think nothing's there to stop them. They're going to go crazy.
Absolutely. I can tell you how to stop them right now. Now, folks, please hear me. All of you fellow veterans, I need veterans organizations to gather up teams, and you need to go to the inner city precincts in your town, your community. 5, 6, 7, 8 of you. 10
because
of
this
you.
is the true final defense of the Republic, more than any foreign land. This is it.
Absolutely. Now, you go in there. It's not hard to spot. You'll see vans come up. You'll see buses come up, and you'll see the same people going in and out of that precinct over and over and over. When you see it, and the reason I say 8 or 10 of you go in there, because it's going to be a little risky. You're going into the heart of the ghettos of these communities. They know it. They know you won't go. But veterans, go. Get your teams together. Go in. And when you see it, instantly, that minute, record it on your phone, take a picture or two, and then call me. Call me. I'll get the word out instantly. We got to catch them in real time. That's what you've got to do. Now, when it comes to the push-button machines, the touch voting machines, Alex, guys, everybody, when you go in and the voting machine is push-button touch machine, you make them show you a printed proof of your votes being registered the way you cast them. And if they can't do that or tell you they can't do that, then you demand to have a paper ballot. Every place is supposed to have a paper ballot. In fact, demand them by law, they're supposed to have it. In fact, just demand one every time. Now, if they say, well, we don't have paper ballots here, which is against the law, but they'll say that probably, then it's simple. They'll tell you you need to go then to the city or the county courthouse, wherever the main place is. There's a place you can go and get a paper ballot and cast your vote. But if they will not provide you proof on a touchscreen computerized voting machine, which is owned by Diebold, which is owned by George Soros. By the way, exactly more than half the ballots in the country are getting cast on companies he controls. Absolutely. So I'm just telling you. Bastard. You can do it. You can do it, but you got to do it. And Alex, we forewarned, and it is now here. This is the vote that either wins our country back or at least protects it for a while longer, or we give it all up. Now, if she wins, you say, what do you do then? You know, he's talking about doing term limits. You know, Alex, Congress isn't going to vote for that. You'd have to get a constitutional amendment. You know, it takes 2/3. Sure, we're almost out of time, Larry. We're almost out of time, Larry, but I want to invite you back up for part 2 of this tomorrow, if you can do it. Folks can support you at nicholslive@aol.com. The important work you're doing, the organization you've got set up, nicholslive@aol.com. Let's get you to pop back in for 30 minutes tomorrow to talk about what we do, how we identify fraud, how we stop it, and then what is going to happen if Hillary gets in. Because Trump's going to win, folks, but they're going to try to steal the ballot box or announce federally, Homeland Security taking over, that he's lost. But we've won by exposing him. We've certainly exposed our operation. So, you know, we only lose by laying down. Larry Nichols, thank you so much. And you've been... You bet, buddy. You know what? I've got Gary Haven coming up. Is he still in Haiti? I don't think he's going to mind getting backed up a few minutes because I need to get into this Haiti thing, but I also need to ask Larry one more question about this whole thing. Gary Haven, for part 2 of an interview we started yesterday, is going to be joining us coming up at the bottom of the hour, and we have a 7-minute video we haven't premiered yet of the carnage in Haiti. And when I sit back and try to prepare my mind to, say, put out a video chronicling the Clintons' crimes, it's mind-numbing. I mean, these are such truly nasty, greedy, horrible people that it's coming out that any building they're in, they just suddenly want everything in the building. They're kleptocrats. They are truly governing kleptomaniacs who want your very life. I mean, they knew for a decade that they were shipping HIV, hepatitis blood out and having it mixed into factor VIII so everyone would get HIV and hepatitis that took it, the hemophiliacs and others. And people came to the Clintons a couple years into it, and he said, and Hillary's like, we're getting paid. I don't care. I mean, I interviewed the doctor who was at the hospital at the major prison who actually went to the Clintons. Their response was to try to get him fired and then have his offices robbed. I mean, it's pretty hardcore, folks, to know you're going to kill over 100,000 people. Conservatively, the Clintons killed. Other states, because they had that big blood scandal, there were shortages of blood, wouldn't sell it out of the inmates' stock because it was so many diseases. Well, they knew people had them and were doing it. And, you know, I go back to that. It's just like, man, these are bad people.
Then it came out in the lawsuits, they knew. And so did the Bayer pharmaceutical head. Came out in the court records. They said, sir, this is going to kill people. And they said, I don't care. Too many hemophiliacs, too many sick people anyways. And then all the witnesses to her, I mean, when a black person walks out of the room, she calls them an N-word, or she'll do it to their face. And hit Secret Service in the head with books and hit Bill in the head with ashtrays. I mean, you know, man. You know, the good part about it is that God appoints a man one life to live, 75 years on average. And you know, old Hillary, I don't think she's going to make it to 75. And I don't wish her even personally any harm. I just want that demonic entity to stop abusing innocent people. But I think about them stealing. I mean, they got over 90% of the donations that were supposed to go to Haiti. Everybody sent it to them. Because they're liberals. They're good white people, and they're going to take care of the black people. And they stole all that money. And they started all these wars, and they do all these bad things, and they just are so wicked. But I guess we become an evil nation, so that's who God's put over us. And I guess if we don't wake up and see through it all, and Trump's not going to be perfect, but he's not out to get us, then we deserve what we get. But here's the deal. America's doing the right thing. They're trying to elect Trump. You see the whole media and the whole system against him. You know, Larry Nichols, I want to have you back up tomorrow because you've been proven right. You've been on target on all of this, and I really want to war game this with you and open the phones up too. But just in closing, because I'm going to get Gary Haven on with the latest on Haiti. But Hillary Fixer breaks ranks. I arranged sex tryst for her with women and men, but then it gets into all the other stuff that they were involved in, and how crazy she is, how like in between events, she'll go in like a powder room and have sex with a woman or a man. I mean, it just shows an addiction. She has to have everything. I mean, what is the psychology of these people? I know you've been involved with the Inquirer and some of their other big scoops, the Vince Foster files and stuff like that. Were you involved in this? Because this just smells like you're one of the sources.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I was knee-deep in the middle of all of that and helped do the background, helped do the research, helped to find a couple of people that are going to be testifying in it, or talking in it. Yeah, I was right in the middle of it. And, of course, you know, I was one of the fixers. You know, you can't get any higher up in their group than I was. You can't. And that's been proven over.
So who are they? Because everybody I talk to says it's like there's nothing there. I've talked to Special Forces people and Blackwater folks separately that did security details for her in Iraq and other areas. And they said that you'll get on a helicopter in a car or whatever, and then she won't even talk to anybody unless she's cussing at you, and that she'll almost like a robot just switch off. She'll just switch off and like go into a trance. Did you ever see that, or is that something newer?
No, I mean, she would just wig out. Alex, I'm just going to tell you the one thing you know about it. I had to justify her going out to L.A. about every 4 to 6 weeks to a witch's church. Finally, when it got so bad, I had to confront her. I said, Hillary, at least for show, at least for public show, if we get caught, you're going to have to stand up. I know you go to Methodist church, stand up and say you believe in God. She turned away from me, Alex. Never will forget it. She turned away from me. And as she started to step away from me, she kind of tilted her head back and said, you know I can't do that. That's haunted me all the years. You know, what did she mean? You know I can't do that. I mean, if she made a deal with the devil, if there's ever been a person that has made a deal with the devil, I cannot imagine that they would act any different than Hillary Rodham Clinton. She's evil. She's mean. Bill's a good timer. He just wants the perks, buddy. That's all he wants. Hillary is pure, deep, evil, mean. Meaner than anything you've ever come in contact with. There's not a wild animal in Africa that will attack you.
Well, let me just say, at a spiritual level, at this level, fighting her and picking up on this stuff, it's nauseating. I can't look at her. I'm really sick of her. I mean, she's a damn demon. And it seemed to really get to them that I called them demons.
Well, it would. She's sensitive to that. But I'll tell you this, ask anybody that's ever been around her about the odor.
Let's talk about the odor, because I've had Secret Service say she smells like, basically like rotting meat. I said, what's it smell like? And a guy joked and goes, you know, crap. They go, no. He said the other word, S-H, you know what? And then I go, no, like rotting meat. We're all like, ugh. Then I talked to Dolly Kyle. She said, worst smell, dirtiest she's ever seen. just totally filthy all the time. Had to be around her for years. And then I talked to their chef. He said, yeah, I never got really close, but they say she stinks really bad. Obama, I've been told, smells like rotting meat. Now, the Bible says this is what demons smell like. I just keep getting told they smell like hell. Tell us, Larry.
Hey, look, you're talking to the guy. The first time I met her, she was all dirty, filthy, dirty hair, wearing a muumuu, flip-flops, and she smelled horrible. Well, I thought it was because of her hygiene. Later, as she started getting cleaned up and dressed up, there is an odor around that woman that if you're within 10 rows of her, if you have any kind of smell sense at all, you're going to smell her. And it's hard to describe. Rotting meat, just rotten. It's just a rotten smell.
Well, I know the Secret Service people, look scared. They said, listen, she's scary. I know they're all making jokes about it, but everybody that works around her, it's in the WikiLeaks, knows that this woman is like Linda Blair.
Hey, let me tell you, that is Sage guy at WikiLeaks. Let's get one thing out in the open. The Ecuadorian government did not knock him off the internet. They could unplug his computer, but they couldn't knock him off. You're seeing the first example of the UN having control of domain. That's what knocked him off. And I'm going to tell you, if that Ecuadorian consulate kicks him out, which the Clintons are going to force him to do, you put this down in your book of Nichols quotes, Assange is dead in a week. Dead in a week. Now, you can't get any tougher than that. You do not cross the Clintons. Not like that. You don't, and walk away.
Well, let me ask you this. I know they've tried to take you out and other people.
Yep.
What do you expect? Because I understand, but what do you expect to happen to yours truly? That she calls me the dark heart.
Alex, if she wins, and we don't do if she wins, the only option for us is not to drain the swamp with term limits. The option is states' rights. I'm not going to get into that now.
No, I agree. We have to go next level. And the good news? People now get it, and folks are going to the next level. They think they got power. They think they're evil. They want to brag how they're stealing elections. They're forcing a lot of people that were on the fence now, were very serious people, to get ready. And they tried to remove all the top generals. That hasn't worked. The military is beside itself, as you know, Larry.
Yep. Well, and I'm going to tell you this, guys. If they were ahead like they are pretending to be, trust me, they wouldn't be acting the way they are. They wouldn't have this media blitz because, Alex, they know what I know. You keep pushing this thing with the media like they're doing it, you run into you end up in blowback. You worry about people thinking you're piling on. You get the sympathy vote. They wouldn't do that.
They wouldn't be going totally nuclear if they weren't in crisis. Well, no, that's why Trump keeps saying it's rigged. Look, he goes and gets real internal polls, and so do the Democrats. I was talking to a major polling company last night, and they said, my God, it's 60-30, 10% undecided. Trump is at 60 nationwide.
I think you're going to see I'm hoping we see what happened in Europe, with the
Brexit
Euro thing. Yeah.
Well, notice Gingrich said that Trump's really 15 ahead on Sunday because he kind of let go what's internal.
Well, trust me, they would not be acting the way, and y'all folks listening, you're getting it from a guy that was with them and designed most of their dirty tricks. They would not be doing what they're doing now with such vigor if they were ahead. They wouldn't be. They would not be. And when they talk about tonight being the big deal, all I got to say, Alex, in closing, is tonight is Trump's night.
He's got to come out like a focused laser beam and just chop her to pieces.
Just tell the truth and look in the camera and don't pay attention to anything going on. You tell the truth. Tell about her. Stay away from the girly stuff because they're going to ask him that to get him distracted. He needs not to ever answer a question tonight about these claims by these women. He shouldn't answer a question at all, Alex. He needs to make a list of the things he wants to tell 50 to 60 Americans and tell it tonight.
All right, Larry Nichols, thank you so much. Well, we sure had a nerve talking about how they reportedly stink. They say even worse with Hillary. And I always thought it was like psychopaths and people like Mao didn't care, so they stunk just to be aggressive. But I think there's something more to it, and the flies all landing on them. Larry?
Oh, let me just tell you, there is something bad around them. And, Alex, I want to close with you asked me the question, what about yours truly, meaning you? If she wins, they're going to use the fairness doctrine and take people off the radio.
Hold on, we got to skip the break because we're talking about fairness doctrine. I mean, I didn't be here, so this won't matter. They admit, they say they've got a tie vote in the Federal Elections Commission, a tied vote in the Supreme Court, a tied vote in the FCC, all groups on the Democrat side saying they're going to ban talk radio and internet news. Hillary said the alt-right has, quote, no right to exist. I mean, they've told us because they got to come out in the open when they finally come for our First Amendment. And all the little leftists now think it's fun to ban words and ban speech. And then these idiot leftists don't know the prosperity's all going to end as soon as they bring the republic down. They are such fools living in the bosom of what's left of this republic, pissing on it all day, not having any idea they're about to lose everything, Larry. So you're getting into what's going to happen.
Well, what's going to happen, I'm telling you, and it was a cool move when they moved that internet over to the UN. Because, you see, the UN doesn't have to honor our Constitution.
And they're saying they're going to follow the new political correct stuff that WikiLeaks shows Soros is running through Facebook. They admit they're, quote, going to shut down the alt media and only, quote, promote our media. That little bastard, and it's not, bastards aren't bad people. I shouldn't call Soros a bastard. That little murdering demon Nazi collaborator weirdo openly says in the WikiLeaks he's going to shut us up.
You remember, first time I ever heard George Soros speak, he said he would take his entire wealth and devote every penny of it to destroying America. And by God, he's got a tool now with the Clintons. They've got the tool they need.
Why did he try to overthrow England? He admits it. Why does he try to overthrow everything Western and prosperous? What is his problem?
Because he believes in a global power. He believes that if you get the government the way Bill Clinton used to tell me, remember the perfect kind of government is you've got the number of ultra rich people you can count on one hand, 5 fingers, and everybody else is dirt poor. Whoever controls that group controls the world.
And by the way, you've been saying that on my show for 20 years. In the new WikiLeaks, I think it was WikiLeaks 9, or yeah, it was WikiLeaks 10, there's document after document in there saying we want to keep them dumb, distracted, poor. I mean, it's so mean. It's so evil.
Well, and the problem is they've got a massive number of people that seem to buy into their stuff.
Yeah, where are all these weird, trendy leftists that they're making top lieutenants who like prance around in little trendy outfits talking about stealing elections and killing people and murder and power, and they've never even killed anybody, Larry?
No, but think about this. If you or I made those kind of claims, we would be in jail today. We'd be in jail. There's no action being brought about them. Remember when I told you, you asked me 100 times, Alex, at least 100 times, will Hillary be indicted? And you justified it, and you told me Comey was
You said never, 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 never.
And by God, they didn't, did they? They didn't.
Yeah, people, Larry, all I can say is everything you've ever said has turned out to be true. It's sickeningly accurate. Except you said they were going to, and I called around and said, yeah, they're trying to order the FBI and others to cook up something on you. And then I guess there was some revolt because it didn't happen. But you said they were going to reportedly raid us and make something up last year.
They were trying. They were trying. But you've got to remember, at certain levels, they've got people back then that wouldn't honor it. They don't have that problem today, Alex. There's nobody in the FBI that's going to go against them. You know that. When she gets the power of the presidency, buddy, you'd be a fool if you worked for the FBI, CIA, NSA. You'd be a fool if you crossed them. It won't just be the end of your career, as you know. It'll be far worse than that. And look at Donald Trump. If Donald Trump loses his world that he could have lived out the rest of his life in luxury and fame, do you not see they've destroyed his character? They've destroyed him. Donald Trump will never be the same if he loses.
And you know what's sad is he won't even, he may tell it later, but he was approached by good people in the military after Benghazi. And he said, and he went to Scotland, where his mom's from, spent over a month and a half, I think 2 months, and actually cogitated on it. And I was told this before it ever came out in political, parts of it came out. And he called him back, and he came back to New York, and he met with the people. He said, I can't do it. He goes, I just, I don't know if the public understands all this or knew this and that. I got a great life. And then he just realized, though, that he saw basically how people were getting poor and how people on the street weren't doing well. And he hated seeing, and he said, okay, I'm going to do it. And he's totally, he's doing it to save, he's not perfect. He doesn't want to hurt us, though. He's not a damn demon. And he's totally in the arena, Larry.
Well, Trump says the magic words to me. He's trying to pay back America for what it's given him the opportunity to do. And I feel sorry for him and his family, because every building they've got under construction in the United States of America and eventually in the world is going to run into every kind of problem the government can issue them. They're going to be stabbed.
Well, I mean, look, the word is Trump's already lost billions. It's confirmed 500 million. They are already destroying him right now. But you notice, I've been told he's gone from being a little bit kid-like and worldly to like so solid now. It's actually made him stronger. And notice how hardcore he's getting.
Well, I think Donald Trump has finally found his faith, and that'll get him through a tough time. But let's not think he's lost yet, because I'm telling you all, and you're taking it from a technical like me, they're not behind. Now, will he win? You know, I don't know. There's a whole lot of dynamics. Next time we talk, we'll talk about electoral college. I mean, there's all kinds of tricks.
Hey, they're setting it up to say the Russians are going to hit it, and then they hit us with a cyber attack and blame the Russians.
Yeah, I mean, remember this, Alex. When you hear Hillary claim Trump's working with the Russians, there's one rule that never will let you down.
Whatever she accuses you of, she's doing.
You got it. You got it. As long as you know that, you're safe. And if they tell you it's up, it's down. If they tell you it's left, it's right. Whatever they tell you, it's the opposite.
What about these media types? And I'm going to go to Gary Haven waiting for us in Port-au-Prince, Haiti, just to get into more of the Clinton crimes and incredible breaking news that I hope people will get out to folks. And we appreciate him holding. I look at the people they've collected into the media, and there's been a few at CBS that left and exposed the truth, but they really have put a collection of sycophantic trash into the mainstream media who gleefully compete to be deceptive and really do hate the average American. And, you know, that comes out in the WikiLeaks. I mean, they really did find trash. And I didn't know there was this much trash in this country.
Oh, you bet. You bet. And especially in the elite literate world. You know, they consider themselves so far above you and me, Alex. They're the smart people. But they're so stupid that they can't even look at history. They can't go back even at recent history and look at the Clintons and look at everybody.
Oh, there's no doubt. It might be a year, it might be 10. But the further they push it, I don't want this to happen, but it's going to be bad. They're going to be, every lamp pole in this country is going to have them hanging from it.
You got it. You got it. Just remember, go back, read Mein Kampf, the book that I used when I was helping Bill, the book he gave me for my first Christmas present with him, said, be my Goebbels. Go back and read it, and you'll see the plan that they're implementing today. And they have found scumbags just like you're talking in the media, and they've cleared out the people that were semi-truthful. They're gone. And all of these people, just like you're saying, they're competing to get to be in favor with Hillary. That might not be a dumb move, actually. If she gets elected, they might want to be in favor for their own protection. But I'm saying they're going to be destroyed in the end. They're going to be destroyed.
Yeah, Hillary's going to stand before God. I'm not scared of her.
Yep. Well, I'm scared of what she's doing to the country, but...
What she's doing to little children is why we got to stand against her. Nichols Live at AOL.com if folks want to help you out with your operation to try to expose election fraud. You've been dead on, so people can make donations there to help Larry Nichols, 58 Kingston Drive, Conway, Arkansas, 72034. We'll talk to you again tomorrow, Larry. Thank you.
Sounds great, buddy. See ya.
Thank you. Let's get on for at least 30 minutes and take some calls tomorrow. I appreciate him joining us via Skype from Port-au-Prince, or maybe it's phone. And that, of course, is Gary Haven, billionaire who's given much of his wealth to charity. 3-4 aircraft every week flying into Haiti since the big earthquake hit. We're going to break here in a moment. We have a powerful video we're going to play as well. But, wow, what do you think hearing all this news about the Clintons and admitting massive election fraud already taking place as their own national heads admit they're involved in crime but say they're above the law, Gary?
You know, I'm an eyewitness down here to the Clinton criminality. There's 1.4 million people that are desperate right now. No roofs on their homes, no crops, no food. There isn't a Clinton dollar to be seen in this country. And the amazing thing is the Clintons are out raising money right now for Haiti. And, you know, Hillary is a psychopath. It's hard for us to understand how she operates. You know, when you say she smells bad and I call her a monster and a thief, you know, that's a payoff for her. She's gleeful about the fact that she can get away with this.
Stay there. We'll come right back to you, my friend. Stay right there. I'm speaking to the White House minions and the Media Matters folks and MSNBC and everybody. I mean, I've studied history. I'm studying what the Clintons have done. I've got their emails confirming it. I've talked to all the people involved. People that don't even know each other say the Clintons are super racist. They steal everything not nailed down. They don't give tips. They steal 94% of the money from Haiti. They're out collecting it again, and the media won't even do anything. I mean, it's been in the news that they steal the money, but it's like, it's all right because they're the Clintons. It's just like a demonic protection. And I keep going back to this because I'm going to be honest. I'm not a person that gets scared of these people, but I'm more freaked out because I've seen hours of footage. We're going to play some of it coming up here in a few minutes. For radio listeners, I'll kind of narrate it. We're going to post the video later this afternoon at Infowars.com. With the UN standing down with our taxpayer money, they're just there to control the situation, I guess, and be on the news so they can claim they're taking care of people, not medevacing people to the local city. The Clintons stealing all the money, collecting more money, and the crimes go on and on and on. And then these weird, spoiled, rotten kids of the baby boomers, and I mean, I'm a Generation X, millennial, whatever you want to call it, but Generation X people and millennials are like these weird, I'm not saying all of us, but on average, weird, soft, disconnected people that as long as they tie into the power structure, they feel like they're winning. They don't care how evil it is. Just shut up. Your guy Trump's going to lose. And I'm like, what about Haiti? Okay, let's just say Trump doesn't win. Haiti, it's really wrong. Oh, just shut up, bigot. And they drive in the fast lane slow and make you get behind them and laugh at you. I mean, I'm beginning to study the psychology. They're like gremlins or something. They pull into gas stations and block both rows and smile at you and like the professor types, they're leaders that are baby boomers do it. I'm starting to take photos of them and even interview them. I'm going to put a film together where I'm going to go confront them and say, oh, I see you're a Democrat. I see you driving the fast lane. I see you block traffic. Showing the studies where they're 6 times more likely not to give to charity and to steal. That's in major studies. I mean, what they are is criminals who hate everyone and aren't successful, so they create systems to take over and then make us, the successful, their slaves. And it's spiritual. I mean, I know Gary's a strong Christian, and I'm not somebody that goes to church or thumps the Bible or anything, but the more you study this, it's spiritual. Now, Gary, I've been ranting, and you're waiting to talk about this and draw attention to it. We're going to have you back up next week, talk about charities out there that actually do deliver food to folks. I know you don't collect money to go to the charity. You just give your own money. But, again, it makes me feel cold almost just to even get near the Clintons and study them because they're such demons. And when I say demons, it's the only way to describe them. They go out of their way to hurt people, and then they have a whole system, a cult, that props them up and worships them and tends them and lies for them. So, Gary, you were getting into the fact that, as we went to break, that here they are again. You can Google it. They're in the news collecting money for Haiti from the hurricane, even though they've been caught, and Chelsea's emails are like, Mom and Dad, you're killing people. You're not giving any money. Why do we collect money? I mean, Chelsea's got a soul, it looks like. Or maybe they're so evil, they told her, do that to cover your ass. I mean, who knows? But it's just like, is there any bottom to these people? And is there any bottom to their supporters? Is there nothing she could do? Because, hell, she's going to increase their unemployment. She's going to hurt the public that worships her. You know, that minority of folks that do. I mean, is this the great delusion the Bible talks about?
That's a great question, Alex. You know, the Bible tells us that in the latter days that we would call evil good and good evil, and that we would reject righteousness, and that he would give us over to great delusion. Because there's no way that a thinking person can for example, look at the Clinton Foundation that's stolen $2 billion from these little children, the poorest in the hemisphere. And yet they continue to have half of the country thinking it's a good idea that this monster become the leader of the free world. The only way that can happen is under delusion. And so we're experiencing a great delusion, and there's no other explanation for it.
I want to go through what you're witnessing, the state of things, and play this 7-minute clip and come back to you. But in your gut, and I always go back to gut, but also intellectually, you're a smart guy. What do you think's coming? What are we facing? Because the energy level in the world, everybody feels it. This is a special election right now. What's happening worldwide is special. We're at a decision time, and I think in my gut, I know if we don't elect Trump, but beyond that, if we don't all start making the right decision to stand up and speak out, I believe we're going to come under great judgment, and I believe there's going to be a total worldwide financial meltdown and probably a world war. And I think, like the Bible says, I think a third or more of the population is going to be killed.
Yeah, we're clearly in a fight with globalism and nationalism, whether it's the Brexit or what's going on in Marine Le Pen in France. The globalists have come out. Hillary has announced she's the globalist candidate. Trump's the nationalist candidate. He wants to make America great again. And that's the great battle. And this globalism, the Bible predicts, is going to happen. The Bible tells us that it's going to be led by the Antichrist himself. You're going to have to take the mark of the beast to buy or sell. This was written 2,000 years ago, and even the ability to require people to take a mark to buy or sell wasn't even conceivable then.
They're suddenly on every channel, NBC, CBS, Fox, Dr. Oz, all saying, take a mark to buy and sell, make yourself say. They're now saying it.
Yeah, they want a cashless society because it's going to reduce
that crime. Came out in the WikiLeaks. Apple wants a total cashless society. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it's man, if people can't see what's going on right now, they're deluded.
Can they even see the symbol? What is the symbol of Apple?
Yeah, Satan's apple he gave to Eve.
You can't make this stuff up, man.
No, it's crazy, isn't it?
At a certain point, I'm just kind of like, whatever, that everybody wants this, fine, you know?
Well, let me tell you about the evil that's going on here. You know, you've got 1.4 million people that have been hit by a horrible earthquake, and they got no food, no water, no medical supplies. No,
and all the leftist scum doesn't care that their God stole all the damn money.
Yeah, Hillary is hated here, and the reason there's no coverage, there's no network media here, and I'm convinced it's because they're providing Hillary cover again. It's not enough that she stole $2 billion from the poorest people on this hemisphere, but now the media is providing her cover, and the world doesn't understand the disaster that we have here. You know, you've been hearing me talk about, I'm the only one feeding thousands of people, and we're the only air evac for two of the primary areas that were severely damaged. We brought in a little boy today, and yesterday brought in a couple people that would have died if my plane was not available. And so, you know, who am I to be here feeding this many people, saving these lives, when the world is supposed to have some sort of response to this thing? And the media is not here because they're covering Hillary. They're criminally complicit in the death of these people that I'm working with.
Think about that. You got 4 planes, you're feeding 4,000 people, you're the main medevac. There's shots of Ospreys. As the troops leave, we have, they were there for 2 weeks, called out now. So at least the U.S. military did show up, but Obama's pulled them out, and there's just nobody there, and it's just total devastation. Who's going to help us when we get hurt? That's what I mean. The more liberal we say we are now, the more empty and evil it gets.
You know, Alex, my movie Amerigeddon depicts America being attacked by an EMP. And I think God sent me here so I could see what life was like for 1 million people without electricity, without water, without food. And I'm living it. And I tell you what, I want to warn Americans. It ain't pretty when you don't have running water and you have no electricity. Your food has been spoiled. And I really believe this has given me that experience so that I can continue to get the word out that people need to prepare. And you need to understand that the government is not only not here to help them, but because our government is controlled by a shadow government, an elite, whom Hillary is part of, George Soros is part of. These evil bastards want absolute power. You know that Alton quote, power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. There's a third sentence on it that nobody ever knows about, but it says that and powerful people are mostly evil people. And it's time for America to wake up and understand that, this kind of disaster. And by the way, I've been dealing with mobs of starving people charging me in my airplane. And that's what we're going to have in America if we allow these evil people to let North Korea do an EMP attack on our country. And that damn satellite flies over twice a day. And there's a very likely possibility that it has a miniaturized nuclear device on it designed for EMP.
Well, regardless, we can have one of these big Carrington events of the sun. We can have another. The point is that look at Fukushima. They don't care anymore. It's like they're demons that want to hurt the planet. And I never used to talk like this, but more and more, they want power just to hurt people. And you read their WikiLeaks, they admit, we want to make people poor. We want to dumb them down. We want to hurt them. I mean, they're just horrible. It's not just like they're greedy and make mistakes or whatever. They're bad. And that's why those of us that are not servants of the devil, I mean, the servants of pure evil, do not get these people are not on the same level we're on. They are on a completely different plane.
Yeah, if you want to defeat your enemy, you got to know your enemy. And it's difficult for Christians, for people with our values, to get into the heads of these people. Remember, they want depopulation. They want a sustainable population, what they call it, which is about 500 million people. A world population right now is 7 billion. And so, a picture of a girl here. She's a useless eater, according to Henry Kissinger. So this is a way for them to eliminate 1 million people that they think are not adding any value to society. And man, it's hard to get your head around that they want to kill. And they said themselves that birth control is not going to get it done. They need to have more aggressive measures.
That's right. Hold on and repeat that. Your Skype's breaking up, Gary Haven, in Haiti and Port-au-Prince right now via Skype. This little photo of this little girl in one of the towns you were in, this is from just driving by in the car from the HD video, a still that Zimmerman has. He's got the UN troops riding around doing nothing with their machine guns, basically looting people as well. But the point is that all this is happening, and that's one level. At the highest level, it's not even about let's be mean and kill people because we're overpopulated. That's their cover. The truth is they just like to kill, steal, and destroy. We know this from the British Royal Institute report on population, 1949. They said we can stabilize the third world, industrialize them, not have them overproduce populations that are unsustainable on unsustainable models, because you can always build a new model. We're going to have a big bloom and then use that to destabilize the world, use the cheap labor to leverage control of the West. And here we are 70 years later, brother, and they've done it. I mean, you got to hand it to them. They've got a diabolical plan that is multi-generational, and it's inspired by something not of this world. And mainstream media makes jokes about it and says, I'm saying space aliens. No, I'm not. I'm saying what the Bible says. An evil entity crash landed on this planet. That's what the Bible says. And you look at it, it is evil. And how did God tell, on the Isle of Patmos, John the Revelator, everything, and tell Daniel and everybody else, describing exactly what we now see? Giant metal insects coming in and fire as big as mountains and huge cities burning and the image of the beast seen in everyone's homes worldwide speaking to them. And it describes computers and everything and huge giant populations. And, the Bible said then it was a round planet and 7 continents. I mean, it's all there before anybody had a satellite. Anybody's been in a ship around the world. It's telling you what's happening. But as Christ said, it's not meant for the profane to be able to understand this. That's why they say, why do you speak in parables? Because it wasn't meant for the profane to even understand it.
Yeah, even people that don't understand what the Bible is to you and me and to Christians, the parts you just talked about from a logical perspective. How did 2,000 years ago they came up with the idea that there would be this economic system that would be controlled all over the world? I invite them just to read it from reason and weigh out the evidence that was predicted at this time. And it goes a long way of explaining things. If people realize that there's a spiritual dimension to this, and that spiritual dimension we were forewarned 2,000 years ago, and it's very specific. and also the nature of people. You know, the Bible says the heart is exceedingly wicked. And let me tell you what, these people don't know Jesus. Many of them, like Hillary, are personally acquainted with Satan himself. I'm convinced of it.
Well, they admit it. I mean, they're into the occult. And exactly. Well, let's take it from a science fiction angle. No, I'm not saying I believe this. I'm saying it's an allegory. Okay, there's God, and then there's this evil thing that's below and that wants to hurt God's creation. It's come here. God's not going to just leave us in the hands of this thing that wants to seduce us through free will to destroy us. We're going to get a warning about the technology that God knows this fallen creature that God made is going to use on us. And so God said, hey, here's what they're going to do. Be ready, so that those of us that understand it get it, and then we have this big animating contest of liberty.
That's right. You know, the Bible says, be not ignorant of the enemy's devices. And I'll tell you what, you and I, a lot of people out there have been teaching Americans that were willing to listen what those devices are. And, you know, he always promised there'd be a remnant. And he promises that he and us is greater than he is in the world. We've got to exercise our power. You know, I've gotten a number of emails that I need to be afraid for my life, because this is a great place for the Clinton crime family to put a hit on me. But you know what? My name is determined by my God, and even Satan himself, in collaboration with these.
Yeah, Gary, your Skype's gone. We can't pick you up again. Hold on, we might have to reconnect. But absolutely, people don't think the way I guess we do that are actually at this level. Everybody keeps saying the Clintons can get you. They kill people. Don't you know? Yes, we know is the point. We're doing this because somebody's got to stand up to them. Somebody's got to say no. And so it's kind of irritating when people say, hey, you know, you better watch it. What, you don't think I don't know that? They got me fired from a job. They had a crew come and physically attack me. Gary, I think your Skype's back. You were just making that point that, of course, you know you're in danger. I mean, Haiti's one of the most dangerous people in the world. That you're landing on dirt airfields looks like a James Bond movie. Of course you know what the hell you're doing. This is the real deal. You know, folks steal our thunder when they think when they think we don't know what we're doing. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll tell you how dangerous this is. Not, and I want to be clear, not me or my 3 aircraft that are here, but another volunteer crashed night before last, and 3 people that were here on their own money, volunteering, died in the sea. They flew through a thunderstorm. So this is serious stuff, and we're doing landings to get children out of here and get food.
Oh, this is serious. We're going to play some of the footage straight ahead. Stay there, Gary Haven. Kicking off at 11 a.m., so we're now 3 hours into it. Right through to midnight. Infowars.com/show to find the free internal feeds we have. We also have YouTube feeds and others. We're going to be dialing into the internal Trump feed that we have access to. The media always has a heyday with stuff like that. Look at Alex Jones and his crew. They have backstage total supreme passes at the RNC. No! The Republican Party hated it too. But the point is this is part of taking the country back. And Trump has really broken through the electronic Berlin Wall. Even if they steal it from him, it's a huge victory. And the WikiLeaks, there's no way Hillary won't get impeached now. I mean, it's just 1,000 crimes on top of 1,000 outrages. We have them now, and more's coming. So it's the battle's joined. Gary Haven will be with us about 15 minutes the next hour. I want to play this special report on Haiti that I don't even know what to name it. I mean, I want to put an article out. I want to get attention to this, not just to expose the Clintons, but to know that the American people gave billions of dollars. The Clintons stole most of it. They got people in the media that they control to say, give it to us. And then they kept it. It's unbelievable. Imagine if Putin started a charity and kept, you know, of $2 billion of it, kept 100 million, 900 and something, you know. I mean, it's 94% they kept. It makes my head spin. Speaking of funding for this platform to promote everybody else, we are selling a new shirt. In fact, here it is. And it's a one-time run. It says, Trump is my president. So you can have this in time for the election. Trump is my president. It says legalize freedom on the back, Infowars.com. Spread the word. It's in red. We have the Hillary for Prison shirt. That's limited edition about to end. We have store-wide free shipping right now. And we also have a lot more, ladies and gentlemen. But I've got to come back to Gary Haven here in just a moment because I haven't plugged any sponsors today. And I need to do this big time. But take advantage of 25% off Brain Force. We've got a lot of other great products that are now back in stock as well, like the anti-parasite cleanse. Living Defense, InfoWarsLife.com, or call toll-free 888-253-3139. But before I go any further, United States Gold Vault is an amazing gold company with the top review at Better Business Bureau. It's based right here in Texas. Will you and your family be protected when we have another economic meltdown? I believe an economic crash is coming, and you should protect yourself with real money. Do you want to be a victim, or do you want to be prepared? Take action with the company I trust, United States Gold Vault. Call them today at 844-321-ALEX, 844-321-ALEX. They've created game-changing gold and silver survival packs filled with physical gold and silver coins that could help safeguard you and when you need it most in a financial crisis, real money, not paper. Don't wait until it's too late. Call United States Gold Vault now at 844-321-ALEX, and you'll get a rugged double-locking bank bag to securely store your gold and silver absolutely free. 844-321-ALEX. It's a great deal. They have a lot of other specials as well. And finally, Solutions from Science Solar Generator. Solutions from Science is one of our oldest sponsors, and they're selling some of their perfect power solar generators below cost. Normally $6,000. It's now below $1,500. It's expandable, so you can make it as powerful as you want. Visit PowerGridChaos.com. That's PowerGridChaos.com, and get yours before they are gone. And then a movie that's so important and needs to be seen, Revelation. I'm in it. General Boykin, you name it. The DVDs are now available, and we're showing around the country. You want to go to revelationthemovie.info, revelationthemovie.info to purchase the DVD or check out hosting a theater near you, revelationthemovie.info. It covers a range of topics such as privacy, Agenda 21, the Federal Reserve, and much more. Again, it's directed by Chuck Undersea and stars General Jerry Boykin, Charlie Daniels, G. Edward Griffin, Joel Scalzo, and myself, Alex Jones. And that's revelationthemovie.info to purchase the DVD or check out hosting in your area. That's what's really important. And will this film save the world? No. But will Amerigeddon do it? No. Will this show? No. But all of us together doing the right thing, speaking out, will. Back to Gary Haven in 70 seconds as we kick off the 4th hour. We'll premiere the full special report on the devastation the Clintons have left in Haiti and what nightmare monsters they are straight ahead. Infowars.com/show for the debate tonight. It's ongoing live coverage from now straight through it. The final showdown. 19 days left. Gary Haven's with us for 2 more segments. And he's just trying to purely draw attention to this. He put out his film, great cost to himself, Amerigeddon, to try to expose the UN globalist takeover. He's just done so much more. He helped expose Ted Cruz at a critical point. He's joined us via phone because the Skype's been degrading so bad in the hurricane hit area. This is a short segment, long segment coming up. We're going to premiere the special report. What do you think we call this controversy? Because I'm trying, so much is headlines, so much is how to put this out. I mean, the Clintons, I think, the Clintons are again stealing the money. I think that's the new controversy. The Clintons are again stealing the money from the Haitians again while the UN stands down medical care. I think that's really the headline. Make some points so we can cut this into the report today and then put it out on the nightly news.
Well, I'm as a CEO and a brand builder, I'm pretty good at this stuff. I think I would call it Haiti, the hidden disaster. And then the byline would be the cover by the Hillary media.
That's right. The Hillary media covers up Clinton crime.
Yep. That's what this is about. Alex, if there were, even Fox News, if they were to show up, I mean, none of them are here, they would tell Americans what's going on. And, as you mentioned, Americans, particularly the evangelicals, are the ones that respond to need. We all have to be obedient to caring for the lesser among us. And this is an opportunity for Americans to respond. I gave you a name of a charity. It's called FERHA.org. There it is. And people can donate to that. And that's a charity that I've been supporting for 5.5 years since.
And it's based right there.
Yep. So people can do something by sending them some resources. The UN has only secured $12 million for this disaster. There's 1.4 million affected. Alex, that's less than $10 a person. That's what the world is committed to this.
Well, again, what adds insult to injury is just that they use Haiti to suck money out of people and then don't even give them half of it. And then they prance around like they're angels. It makes me sick.
Yeah, and I got to tell you that I ain't seen a Red Cross or a Blue Cross or any kind of, it's all individuals, and there's a lot of great people that have stopped their lives and come here and help. Doctors, nurses, medical workers, and I'm really proud of these people. But I tell you what, it's hundreds when we need thousands, and there's no help coming from the media.
And by the way, that's a normal human instinct God gave us to want to go help people that are in trouble if we have the means. And it seems like they are driving that instinct out. I mean, they have studies that the more industrialized we get, people just watch a raped woman, bleed to death for 2 hours in the street. And the CEO of a Toronto company told his employees, don't even call the cops, it's a diversion. And the woman died. I mean, this is getting weird.
Yeah, a woman gets raped while people stand around and are afraid to do things. I'm a Texan, and you're a Texan. We're men in our state. We haven't been effeminized, and we're not afraid to stand up to this evil. We're not afraid to stand up and defend these children and women, and I'm proud of that. And I think God's proud of what.
Well, I get so angry. I get tears in my eyes. It's not because I'm some goody two-shoe. I know that we're losing our soul. I'm going to go to break. I want to ask you this when we come back. What do we do to put attention on this, Gary? Because, I mean, there's more we can do, the listeners can do. And then how do we shame the Clintons? I'm thinking about some new contest to shame them for stealing the Haiti money. That's it. Bigger than exposing the rape. Should I offer another $100,000 for people confronting them on national TV about stealing the Haitian money? I think that's what we need to do, don't we?
Yep, let's talk about it in a minute.
We'll be right back with Gary Haven. He's down there, and I had some other questions I wanted to ask as well. But I tell you, these people are just the scum of the earth. Gary Haven is our guest for a few more minutes. We're going to go to this special report, then go to break and bring Anthony Gucciardi in, balance out this hour. Then we got a big lineup today of exclusive guests, reporters, live feeds before, during, and after. We're going to have feeds into the Trump area that nobody has but us and Right Side, directly from the Trump folks, with a special press conference they're going to do after. They've got surprises before. We'll mix all the feeds together at Infowars.com from here in Austin, Texas. And of course, you can tune into other feeds as well that we'll have on the site. But Infowars.com/show. You're part of this revolution against the mainstream media. Spread that link to everybody. Infowars.com/show for inside scoop at the debate, for feeds and cameras and things MSM won't show you. Infowars.com/show. Gary Haven, we really should pull some stunts to expose Hillary, and also then obviously get more aid to Haiti, who was robbed. I want to ask you a few questions, though. Mainstream media says that it's $2 billion the Clintons took, and that they took 94%, and that they gave 3 to 5%, depending on the year, of their own money to charity, and then that itself was to them. So it's a total money laundering operation. But even the LA Times and others report that really what happened to the $3.9 billion that were supposed to go to Haiti that the Clinton Foundation got. So what's the real number? Is $2 billion conservative, or what's happening?
Yeah, I use $2 billion because it's conservative. I think I could prove that, which is important for my credibility. But it's very likely north of that. And I would recommend people use the $2 billion plus number and talk about that. The head of the Haitian Senate did that press event with Trump the other day. By the way, I'm meeting this afternoon with the Haitian senator over that area. That's how significant our contribution has been to his area. We're there with our resources saving his people. And so he's getting behind us on this. Alex, one of the problems here is the Haitian government has refused to declare an emergency, because when they do, they give up sovereignty over the United Nations. They're not willing to do that. So the resources are limited. The Haitians are afraid of the power they'll lose and the vulnerability they have to the United Nations, which is a pretty good worry.
Yeah, how many times has Haiti been overthrown by the West or the UN? Quite a few times.
Yeah, it's a mess. The number one religion here is voodoo, which brings us back to the spiritual element. I was surrounded by 200 people yesterday out in this place where we're feeding 4,000, And, the voices were loud. They were angry. And curiously, in a tarp beside me, they were playing voodoo drums while we were trying to get the crowd under control. And my Haitian doctor who was with me was masterful. She got the crowd to calm down, and she was able to explain that I was the one feeding them, told them my name, and then 200 people began to chant my name. The experiences here are just really hard to describe.
And even though it's hard, and even though it's a hellhole in many respects, I would imagine, though, it feeds the soul to be doing good work and to be in the real world, because, a big pink pillar in the sky, New World Order, Matrix land is not the real world. It does not buoy the human spirit, but actually doing good work and trailblazing like you're doing, Gary, is. And I really appreciate you bringing the crew in there. I knew it was dangerous, but my God, watching the HD footage of you guys coming in on mud, grass, runways, by the edge of cliffs, and starving people and dying people and little starving children, and the haunting images. We've got more of the armored vehicles and the UN people and the little children, 5-6-year-olds, their mothers and fathers are dead, wandering around in the rubble. I mean, this is unbelievable.
It's extraordinary, Alex. But I tell you, I could be anywhere in the world doing anything I want to do. I wouldn't trade any of it for this experience. I've been here 10 days now. I don't know when I'm going to leave. I can't leave. People that are depending on me for food, and me only. I was telling somebody, we're saving these lives. And it's not like a doctor doing a surgery and saving a life, because there's other doctors. But here, doing this, there's me and my pilots and some great people that are teamed up. If not for us, there would be nobody. So these lives we're saving are even more incredible, because they wouldn't be alive if we weren't here to be doing this. So I tell you, it's humbling, but it's the most satisfying thing I think I've ever done in my life. The joy of holding a little baby and putting him on the plane and knowing that we're going to take him to a life-saving operation. I tell you, it's a thrill. The negative is being an eyewitness to the corruption in the Hillary Clinton program, the Clinton Foundation. We go back to what can our listeners do? They need to make this stuff go viral. Joe Biggs filmed. It looks like Hiroshima, and you're putting on stuff that can be sent viral. We need to get social media, and again, the hidden disaster. And how the media is provided cover for Hillary Clinton. And the media, because of Hillary's cover, is killing more people than the hurricane did.
Gary Haberman, thank you so much. I'm going to air this special report now. God bless you, and we'll talk to you again very, very soon.
Great, Alex. Thanks for all you do, buddy.
Thank you. That's Gary Haberman from Port-au-Prince there in Haiti, and we've got hours and hours of HD footage. I'm going to air about 7-8 minutes of this footage right now. And then Anthony Gucciardi is going to take over. Obviously, we're going to skip this network break. But I sit back and I look at this world, and I sit back and I see what's unfolding and what's happening. And you really see what people are made of when things get down to brass tacks like this. And that's exactly what the statistics show. The so-called trendy modern liberals are not liberals. I don't want to put that name of liberal on them, because there are some real liberals out there that are pretty good people. I may disagree with them on a few issues, but they're good people. There's not many of those anymore, though. And they have really organized a group of criminals at every level of society to take over and force delusion on us, and then just do horrible things, really despicable things. I mean, it takes Bill Clinton a lot of will and nerve to show up in Haiti for an hour off of a helicopter, shake a bunch of people's hands with Chelsea. Got to put that article back up on screen. But Chelsea actually looks, I'm not trying to lionize Chelsea, but she actually looks concerned and upset. Bill's, oh, hi, how you doing? Shaking people's hands. Leaves, steals billions of dollars, gives basically nothing back, and then feels like a good guy. I mean, I would not be able to get out of bed in the morning if I had stolen money from children. And again, Bill Clinton would call me weak. Hillary would call me weak. No, I'm alive. You people are dead inside. And, you know, I know they intimidate the FBI and different agencies, and they hire a lot of crooks and stuff, so people are afraid to speak out, and if you do, you get killed. They come after you. They can't stop us all. And folks in media, it's the same thing. People get fired out of the media for telling the truth, like the CBS reporter did. She went and started her own media operation. She's more successful. Forget her name. Don't have a teleprompter. I mean, you just got to do the right thing and just say, whatever happens, happens. I'm doing the right thing. And then you build a good world when almost everybody lies down and acts like a bunch of cowards. It really is a frightening prospect of the future because evil takes over. You're not safe laying down to evil. You're in danger. And, you know, I see these controversy, people not wanting to stand up during the national anthem. And hey, I'm all into free speech. If you don't want to do that, that's your issue. But then they go forward to bash America and say it's the worst and bitch and gripe on top of it and say how great George Soros is and Obama is when they're big warmongering criminals launching all these wars. Now, the corporate media makes it popular to bash America. They either want empty fake patriotism or they want this big fake empty attack patriotism, but to support globalism. And quite frankly, when I was a teenager, I was studying fascism and things, and I didn't particularly like getting up to do this, the Pledge of Allegiance in school because I realized it was an autocratic control system. Not that I didn't want to pledge allegiance to the Republic, but that I got that this government wasn't America. Already by that point, that somebody captured the country, and so I was really saluting them, not the Republic. And I live here, so I should be saluting it. So, or I shouldn't be, so everybody can know I'm not part of this. And see, America's got a horrible past and done a lot of bad things, but compared to other countries, from every other historical perspective, the Japanese, French, you name it, we were special and amazing and had amazing innovations because we were about the little people being important and the little people having ideas, the little people being able to compete. So the poorest person could end up, you know, be the head of the Navy or the top inventor or an artist. And so it was that idea of what you stood for and what you did, not where you came from or what you looked like, that Martin Luther King continued with. That's Americana, folks. And now you see the complete opposite of that. It's cultic, it's stupid, it's gangsterish, it's tribal, it's mindless, it's bad news. And so I remember also growing up and hearing how great Texas was. We'll skip this break, guys. How great Texas was and how we were the best and all this. And I would just roll my eyes and just think, my God, because you always do that to parents and grandparents. Please quit talking about this and that. Please stop. Then as I got older and I traveled the country and the world, and Texas isn't perfect, but real old Texas was just the end of chivalry. It was kind of the last frontier of men still being men, or just that idea, like a Americana holdout. And then I understood. It's not that America is that good or Texas is that good. It's that everything else is so much worse. And we've turned our back on all of it. And they say you judge a tree by its fruits. Look at how many people fighting the New World Order come from Texas because of those ideals and believing in something. You can also say, yeah, look at George Bush coming from it. No, that's people coming from Kennebunkport, Maine. And I'm not bashing folks up in Maine or Connecticut. The point is those are the blue bloods that infest that area coming down here to rob us and then take on the mantle of Texas when they're the opposite of it. A hat and cowboy boots does not make you a Texan. And I don't want to even sit there and lionize America or Texas. It's just that when people are pissing on the flag and pissing on the Star-Spangled Banner and the Pledge of Allegiance, they're pissing on what gave them $100 million contracts and jets and mansions and everything. Not that that's the best thing in the world. It's just that the byproduct of a little bit of freedom is fabulous wealth, medicine, culture, opportunities, ideas. And to watch a bunch of spoiled, rotten brats run around with political correctness and talk about everything that's good as if it's the worst thing in the world makes me really want to involve myself in an Atlas Shrugged type operation and just start pulling back and not caring. But that's what the elite did. They have that attitude the public is a bunch of scum, and then they end up just going ahead and treating them like scum, and so then it makes them act like scum, and it's a self-fulfilling prophecy. I will not lower myself to the level of the elite or the general public. I will not be part of it. And it's not because I'm some perfect person. It's because I can't do it. When I even start thinking like the establishment thinks, I get a chill up my spine. Because that's turning myself over to this spirit that I'm not going to be part of. And no matter how many concerns I've got or no matter what the danger is, my soul is in charge, and it says, you are not going to join this ever. And it's that simple decision. Where does your soul lie? You don't have to go to some church with some jackass devil-worshiping preacher. Half those sons of bitches are devil worshipers. You don't need to go to these big whore churches to find God. That's where you find the devil. You've got to make a decision in your heart who you stand for. Those Pharisees will tell you your bag as you drink a beer, you think God's creation, a woman's beautiful, and Lord knows that can get out of hand. But the point is, they want to make you feel guilty, so you think you've got to go through them to find God. They're there to make sure you don't find God. Well, let me tell you something. In my 40-something years, I found God and I found the devil. And I'm going with God all the way. Here's a special report on Haiti. We'll go to break, come back with Anthony Gucciardi.
If you love black people, why are you destroying Haiti? Why did you, Mr. Clinton, stop them from the rice that they were producing in Haiti to feed themselves?
In this environment, the most important thing all the rest of us can do is give even small amounts of cash for food, medicine, water, and shelter.
You've got like the head of the Senate saying that the Clintons tried to bribe him. You've got local leaders saying how the Clintons do nothing, how they just collect all the money. And it just brings home, these people are damn evil.
Young boy here with a severe injury. We're his only way out of here. And we're about to put him on our plane. The UN helicopter taking off is empty because they don't do evac. This is what's so frustrating here. No government help. That won't bring in some food, but they won't do anything interesting, like help an individual. So we're getting him out of here, and an old man on a stretcher with a spinal cord injury. And America needs to know what's going on here. This is an absolute disaster. And Obama sent in 6 or 7 helicopters. They're all going home in a few days. And people are starving. They have no water. It's injuries. This person was injured in a hurricane, which was 7 or 8 days ago. And we're just now getting him to a hospital. So anybody that cares about this, cares about the Haitian people, you need to call your congressman. You need to call your media, because this is a completely ignored story. 1 million people on this peninsula in western Haiti without water, without food, without medical care. And very, very little is being done by the international community and by the American government. And so I saw only 4 stories in the entire media yesterday on the Haitian program. There's 1 million people in distress. This is important.
You've got the Clinton Foundation here, but guess where they're at? In Port-au-Prince, wheeling and dealing at the Marriott, you know, trying to put money in their own pockets. Meanwhile, you got people here with their legs snapped, fractured backs, trying to get help, trying to get out of here, trying to seek the medical attention they deserve and they should have. And these people are more concerned with putting money in their own pockets and benefiting their lives and their families later on down the road. When you have people here...
Let me say, this guy's an EMT, and he's been doing this for quite a while. How much Clinton fund money have you seen actually put in the hands of Haitians?
Absolutely nothing right now. Because we've been here since, what, last Wednesday?
Yep.
We haven't seen nothing yet.
And most of the Haitians consider Hillary Clinton a thief. Would that be an accurate description?
I would say yes.
Yeah.
Because that's what they, I mean, it's been going on for quite a while.
So January 2010?
Yep.
Yeah.
And before that?
So this is it.
They're already digging their fingers in Haiti before it happened. And then when that catastrophic event took place, they seized it, jumped in here, and then took a hold of that natural disaster and then use it as a way to benefit themselves. And that's what they always do.
Yep. And we have absolute proof that the Clintons have put nothing into Haiti other than getting a gold mine for Hillary's brother and their rich friends.
I don't see major organizations down here. I don't see major organizations out in that area. We're the only ones out there. Hero is literally the only one out there in Damarie doing this work. And Damarie is one of the most affected areas where the hurricane went through and devastated the entire town. So we have a bunch of people without homes, without food, without shelter, and in need of medical assistance. So that in itself should be screaming out to the world that, yes, we need eyes back on Haiti because we can't do it alone. We desperately need help.
You know, what's amazing, aside from some small-scale U.S. military aid and some other Christian organizations, you know, I mean, yesterday I looked around, I thought, I wonder where the Religion of Peace is at. You know what? Why aren't these guys down here helping out? Where's the Clinton Foundation that's collected hundreds of millions of dollars from the earthquake and dispensed, you know, if these Haitian people were lucky, they got 10 cents on the dollar out of that. And, you know, there's just, and I think the large part of it is really to blame on the media. The media hasn't covered this story. I mean, this country's devastated.
Haiti Air Ambulance, a great organization with a beautiful helicopter ambulance staff, wants to come here and take our patients, but they can't go round trip on one tank of gas, okay? The only people they can get gas from out here is Munista, and they won't sell them gas, and because they need it for their operation. They won't let us do medevacs on the UN planes. They won't let us do medevacs on the Army planes.
Yeah, the Army won't let you do medevac, right?
The Army won't let it. They won't come here and take our people.
Tell us what the Clinton Fund has done for you.
Where's the Clinton Foundation? Where's everybody?
Gary and Diane have been down here with their own caravans. They came down with 3 planes, and we've been providing help to Damarie, Lekai, and Jeremy. They have been the only ones able to distribute to about 3,000 people, basically food, water, oil, the basic needs for any human being. We don't see the Red Cross. We haven't seen the Clinton Foundation doing anything in Haiti. We are the only ones medevacing those trauma people, and Damarie, we're the only flights landing there, getting people out that need to be medevaced.
My friends,
Hillary, let me give you a word.
We're going to upload this video. There's a few more minutes left to it in the next hour at Infowars.com. Please get it out to everybody. Anthony Gutierrez is about to take over, and then I'm going to be here with the rest of the crew, popping in and out right through past midnight tonight. So thank you all for your support. Infowars.com/store. If you want to support the broadcast by checking out the products, or InfoWarsStore.com. We've got free shipping running right now as a special that ends tomorrow, so take advantage of that. And please support the broadcast, 25% off on Brain Force as well.
You know, when you watch a video like that, the Haiti video, and you think about what you're really looking at, you're looking at a group of people that have been completely deceived by charities, so-called help aid groups that took money and then not only did nothing with it, but chose to use the money for something else as people are actually suffering and dying. There's people dying on camera. I spoke to Michael Zimmerman, who shot all of that, and it's disturbing, right? And you think about that, you think, how could we get to a point where they are the only ones going down there? They're the only ones shipping down the food. There's some relief groups and everything helping them. But Gary is the only one out of billions of people in the world. He also has the resources, but going down there and helping those people. And you think about it, how do we get to that point? How do we get to the point globally with everything that's happening? Like, how do we possibly get to this level where you look at it and you say, what is going on? How is this possible? And also you think about, how did we get where we are as a country? You think over and over and over again. That's why they say, of course, that there's the election syndrome, the election anxiety syndrome, that people are having like panic attacks because the election is so crazy. Well, everything is getting more and more out in the open, right? You have an article like this. UK admits it spied illegally for 17 years. is sorry, but it won't stop. They're sorry we spied on you for 17 years, but we're not going to do anything about it, right? So much of it is all just in the open now. And one of those things is about the hormone-disrupting chemicals. We're going to talk to Dr. Group about this news piece here in a moment. But years and years and years ago, 5, 6, 7 years ago, we were always talking about hormone-disrupting chemicals. Alex was talking about it. I would write articles about it. I challenged Susan G. Komen for the Cure, the massive anti-breast cancer charity, to actually list BPA as avoiding BPA as one of the ways to prevent breast cancer. Back then, it was like 130 studies showing it, right? Now, but you're crazy then, by the way. You're totally insane, and it's not scientific. It's unfounded. You're crazy. It's not an issue. But, of course, yesterday an article comes out that hormone-disrupting chemicals are responsible for at least $340 billion in health-related costs. It's just killing people, and it's costing $340 billion in health-related costs because people are eating the junk. They're getting it in water bottles. We're going to talk about that with Dr. Group. So what is happening where our brains are almost like short-circuiting because there's so much going on? That's what's happening. It's all out. We are aware the establishment system screwed us. We are sold a lie. People are pissed off. The establishment system, meanwhile, instead of even pretending that everything is fine, like there's a little bit of that with the media, like there's a small percentage of people that, still trust the mega media to the point where they just think, you're right, everything's fine, like everyone has our best interests at heart, there's no way anything could be going on. But what is actually happening is the information overload of our brains, we can't even digest it. We can't digest it. There's tons of articles talking about this. Neuroscientists say multitasking literally drains the energy reserves of your brain. And that is in terms of using a smartphone, reading the news, doing all the things that we're doing. We're going to go through some of this. But Psychology Today, flooding your brain's engine, how you can have too much of a good thing. Multitasking damages your brain and career. How technology is warping your memory. Basically what's happening, and I do want to get Dr. Group's take on this too. He's been patiently waiting. Is we're flooded with all this. Do you even remember what the big scandal was 6 months ago or 2 months ago or maybe even just a month ago? Do you even remember? Do you even remember the massive banking institutions that have been paying millions and millions of dollars of fines for money laundering with drug cartels? I mean, do we even remember the fact that we're paying over $183 billion a year in taxpayer money to the banks due to the bailouts? I mean, how much of this is actually actively on your mind? Probably zero, probably none of it, because we're just constantly just hit with all this junk every single day. We can't computate it all in our brains, and then we forget about it, and it just continues. Just like we're not going to do anything about the fact that Haiti is crushed, and all the groups that claimed they were going to help them, that received millions of dollars of funding and did nothing about it. Instead, Gary Haven and InfoWars have to fly down on a private jet and unload millions of dollars of food. All right, Dr. Group, I want to get your thoughts on this and also talk about this truth that hormone-disrupting chemicals, we've been saying this for like 10 years, are actually killing people and costing $340 billion a year. But back then, it was not a real thing. I mean, do you not see all of this just so open now? And it's overwhelming.
Yeah, a lot of it, I think, has to do with everything that Alex has been talking about, everything that you've been posting online, everything that we've been posting online. The fact that people are waking up and realizing that the healthcare system is, chaotic. They've seen their parents die, all the chemicals they're aware of now, they're becoming more aware of all this stuff. Just think about that. $340 billion associated with hormone disrupting chemicals. And those are going to be in practically every everyday item products that you have around your house, tens of thousands of products, anything with plastic, anything with food containers, detergents, flame retardants, toys that your kids are playing with, cosmetics, neurological and behavioral problems these things are causing. They're causing sterility in males, attention deficit disorder, autism, loss of IQ.
If you just read this article, it's crazy. Listen to what it says. It says so-called endocrine disrupting chemicals, so-called EDCs, are found in thousands of everyday products, ranging from plastic and metal food containers, detergents, flame retardants, toys, and cosmetics, right? And then the next paragraph, it says, neurological damage, behavioral problems, including attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, autism, loss of IQ, accounted for at least 4/5 of these impacts. So they say, as we've known this for years, yeah, it's in everything, just like you're saying, Dr. Group. It's in everything. It's in everyday products. It's in nonstick pans. It's in the dollar bill. It's in this printed out article right here. The BPA, the BPS, everything. It's all in all these consumer goods, and it's causing loss of IQ and autism and ADHD. And that's okay though. but then we'll forget about it tomorrow, and we'll say, what can we do about ADHD? What can we do? Well, there's nothing we can do. You know, how absurd is that?
It's pretty absurd considering if you really look in, this study, by the way, was done by the Lancet, published by the Lancet, Diabetes and Endocrinology. But the biggest culprit, the biggest endocrine disrupting chemical in this study, by far among the man-made chemicals and all these endocrine disrupting compounds, is the organobromine compounds, which are actually called PBDEs, polybrominated diphenyl ethers. And you know how much we've talked about iodine and the attack on the thyroid and the attack on the endocrine system by the other toxic halogens, which are bromine, fluoride, and chlorine. So it all goes back, if you look at the research, why in the world are these things allowed? Why are these chemicals allowed into our civilization? Not only do they destroy the human, but they also destroy the earth. But think about that. The most damaging element of the endocrine disrupting chemicals is the organobromine. And we know that bromine, chlorine, and fluoride fight for the receptor sites. There's iodine receptor sites on every single cell in the body. And we wonder why we have so many thyroid issues, ovarian cancer, prostate problems, breast. I mean, it doesn't matter. Any type of disease can be associated with these toxic compounds. And that's why it's so important to be on iodine every single day, is because how are you going to fight that? You know, you got to get rid of all your toys and clean up your diet and everything else. But, you know, like you said earlier, right now it's a crazy time. I mean, not only in Haiti, but all around the world, people are suffering. And, you know, there was another article that came out by the Psychology Today, which is talking about election stress disorder, that 50% of and not just in America, but
right, which is a real thing
all over
by now.
The world.
It's a real condition. It's a new term, right? It's people that are so stressed out by the so-called election thing. Really, I think what they're stressed out about is the fact that they're seeing the truth of what their country is really like, right? They're seeing the truth of what the system, so-called, is actually doing. Because if more than anything, I think the election has kind of pulled the veil back a little bit, right? It doesn't even mean that like one person is so great or whatever. It just means, wow, all this is actually going on because the gloves came off for the first time. But go ahead.
No, that's true. You have, like, let's just say 50% of the people that are in fear right now that Hillary will win. And then you got 50% of the people out there that are in fear right now that Trump will win. So basically, you've created a society of, regardless who wins or who anybody's rooting for, it's 100% fear. And that's not the type of society that we want to live in. And as a matter of fact, it was pretty comical that the American Psychological Association actually published some stuff on how to cope with election stress. And one of them is to limit media consumption. And the other one is to stop having conflicting discussions about the election. And the other one is know that whatever happens, life will go on.
Stop disagreeing with people. No more debate discussions.
Yeah, that's crazy. And then the last one is go vote.
So in other words, it's kind of like many other things. It's not exactly the best way to prevent or cure anything.
Yeah, it's just like nobody addresses the root cause of any problems. I mean, everybody is still addressing the symptoms of everything, and you know,
which is systemic. It's a weird, because as above, so below, right? If you look at the fact that no one addresses the root cause of things at a health level, right, at a cellular level, in terms of if you go in with something wrong with you, they don't say, well, what's your lifestyle like? What's your diet like? Well, so is the political system kind of like an organism, and we're not diagnosing it properly. We're just looking at all the little symptoms, like all the little latest scandals we're always freaking out about as a society. We're always looking at the littlest, tiniest things. It's almost like I've said before, we have a microscope in front of our eyes, and that's all we could see. or like a massive magnifying glass. We can only see one little thing, and it's dictated, or they at least tried to be dictated by the media. So we don't see the full so-called holistic view, right? Because we can apply this over and over again to everything. Why are we not making a firm diagnosis on the state of society in the world as opposed to hitting things with hammers with gophers everywhere? It's never, ever going to work.
Yeah, the Guardian just released a study that came out and said we could prevent millions of cancer deaths with knowledge we already have. Hello, that's what we've been saying for the last 20 years. Cancer deaths right now worldwide are estimated to increase by over 50% between 2015 and 2030. It's rampant. Liver cancer, I've been talking about this for a long time. Heal the gut, heal the body, clean the liver, clean the body. You get a new gut tissue every 24 hours. You get new liver every 3 months. It's the two fastest regenerating organs. Do you think that there was a reason that God did that? Because he knew that we were going to be processing so many chemicals and toxins. And now liver cancer is the second most common cause of cancer death worldwide.
Well, just look at this article, right? So from The Guardian, we could prevent millions of cancer deaths with knowledge we already have. And what's interesting, they don't even get into a lot of things in this. It's more of just basic prevention and stuff in like third world countries and things.
No, they say only 50% of the girls are getting the HPV vaccine, and that all of them need to get the HPV vaccine so we can prevent 50% of possible ovarian cancer.
Right, and they talk about
all they're saying to do is increase drug use and increase vaccines, and that's how you're going to prevent cancer.
Right. Now look at the juxtaposition, though, here. This is from the New Zealand Herald, because it just had a better title than the Reuters. It's the same thing. But it says, this is New Zealand Herald. Chemicals and everyday products linked to cancer, autism, diabetes. It's talking about the endocrine disruptors and about how it costs $340 billion to deal with that, and it's killing people, right? So look at that, and then look at something like this. The Guardian, we could prevent millions of cancer deaths with knowledge we already have, right? So even the Guardian piece didn't even venture into that. It didn't even venture into the concept of what we're eating is killing us, what we're drinking is killing us. And I don't mean to sit here and say that everything we're doing, you're going to die of cancer, it's horrible. No, it's not like that. It's simple systems that could be fixed at the root systemic level from the producers of all this, okay? Like these, InfoWars Life doesn't have a bunch of stuff in it that's going to kill you and give you cancer. It's simple. Like as a producer, as a manufacturer, you don't have to choose to do that. It's just like this article. Factory farming could lead us to, quote, antibiotic apocalypse. This is from the Canary. And it talks about what we already know. 70% of antibiotics are dumped into the livestock. It's used as a preventative now. So it's the animal's not even sick. You just dump antibiotics into them in case they get sick, because you can't lose profits if the animal dies. And as long as it's sustained just enough, like even if it's on the brink of death, just enough to sell it, that's all that matters. So it's not like a pipe dream or something. People always criticize and say, well, everything gives you cancer. You can't do anything about it. Well, number one, you can at an individual level, 100%. But number two, this platform can be utilized to actually change things, as it has been. Numerous successes, numerous victories, activism victories. But it's at a systemic level when the producers decide to do something about it. Just like the political organism, it's not like sitting here talking about this is doing nothing and going into the ether. It's actually affecting things globally, and then the producers in the political climate, just as the health climate, are forced to actually do something about it.
You know, I think that we're really blessed to be on the planet at this particular time. I mean, yes, we're dealing with a lot of stuff, but we're also dealing with radical change at the same time. And every single day that we come in, and all of the people that are learning more and more and more about their health, it's we the people. I mean, you know, cleansing, for example, has been used in the ancient Egyptian times. I mean, ancient Roman times. They all used olive oil to cleanse the liver. That's why the truth never changes. It stands the test of time. And all civilizations had ways of cleansing the earth and cleansing the body. And now more and more people are starting to wake up to that fact and realize, see, we're manipulated from birth because we're taught that we have to look outside for everything else. We have to look outside for the answers. We have to go to a doctor to heal us. We have to go over here to do this. And we have to learn in the own educational system, which completely shuts us down from knowing where our true power is. I mean, we were born with the best and most effective healing modalities in the world is inside you. It's your self-healing mechanism. You know, when you have that hope and you have that faith and you are not in a state of fear, not in a state of anxiety, not in a state of stress, and you know how to keep your body clean, you keep your gut healthy and you keep your liver clean, then there's nothing. That's what activates your body's self-healing mechanism and keeps you strong and keeps you powerful. You know, listen, the powers to be are very, very scared of one thing. That is, if people learn how to meditate. There have been many, many studies done, over 50 documented studies by, you can go to World Peace Group, and it's called the 1% radiance effect. And it's proven that if 1% of any given population, let's say there's 100,000 people in a city, and 1% of those people start meditating, it's been proven that you can literally change society with your thoughts and through meditation.
Dr. Group, we got to go to break. Thank you for coming on the show. I think you got to go to a live stream event right after this, but we'll be right back. A lot more new WikiLeaks information. So I want to talk a little bit about Ecuador saying it cut off WikiLeaks internet, or rather Julian Assange's internet through its own embassy. But first, also, I want to remind you at InfoWarsLife.com. I mean, today is the final debate. It is now time to fund groups you actually care about and you're interested in. Groups that are willing to do things like fly someone down to Haiti and document the entire thing and assist amazing people like Gary Haven in feeding Haitians that are not being helped by any of the groups that got millions and millions of dollars but just refuse to do it. So InfoWarsLife.com. Brain Force is an amazing nootropic neural activation formula. It really, really works. You don't get like crashy, groggy feelings, or for me at least, I don't get that. And it's an amazing formula that has hundreds of 5-star reviews, and it's 25% off. So if you've tried it before, you want to stock up. If you've never tried it, now is the absolute time to do it. And once again, these are not formulas that just get cranked out that are junk, that we just say, well, you know what, we can save some money, it doesn't matter. It's not like the chickens that the factory farms just dump full of antibiotics so they don't die, or at least don't die long enough with their chronic conditions so they can be slaughtered up and eaten, right? This is the real deal stuff. It's actually curated and taken care of. So Brain Force, 25% off. Today is the day to do it because the special will be down soon. So InfoWarsLife.com, support things you actually believe in. Instead of buying just a Starbucks coffee in the morning, which is like $20 anyway, buy something that is going to help you in your life and support something that is doing good. Now, let's talk about this. The Guardian, Ecuador says it cut WikiLeaks founder's internet over interference in U.S. election. Now, you think about the damage control level that we see, it's pathetic, right? Not just in this particular instance, right? But the concept that, oh, they're interfering in the election, just like Russia's interfering in the election by releasing all the things that Hillary Clinton's doing. Or you could say like, oh, well, activists online are interfering in the election by talking about Hillary Clinton's past. What? Interfering in the election? I thought we were trying to make more informed decisions, right? I thought if you have more information, you can make a more informed decision about which candidate you want to support. No. That's interfering in the elections. You say, well, but it's just information about what they are doing, and it's showing it to the public that they're supposed to elect their leader based on that kind of stuff. And no. So now it's interfering in the election at the lowest levels of anything you do. So talking about this article is interfering in the election, according to this weird nomenclature, right? So I guess anything now could be interfering. So you actually can't present information and news that's been presented to you. Like Julian Assange gets this information about Hillary that he says, wow, this is really powerful stuff. We need to have the public aware of this. That's interfering in the election. So it's no longer informing people. Cops have a database of 117 million faces. You're probably in it. This is from Wired. It's no secret that the American law has been building facial recognition databases to aid in its investigations, but a new comprehensive report on the status of facial recognition as a tool in law enforcement shows the sheer scope and reach of the FBI's database of faces and those of state-level law enforcement agencies. Roughly half of American adults are included in those collections, and that massive assembly of biometric data is accessible with spotty oversight. So here's my question, too, on the whole police thing. Why are we so obsessed with local level police actions that may or may not be bad, and no one cares anymore about the fact that there's millions, half of Americans' faces are in these databases with virtually no oversight. No one knows it's really being done with them. They're being shared with corporations and things, but people don't get mad about that, right? We just have lost our focus in so many different ways. Not that other things that are happening aren't bad, but these are the kind of things that are now being glossed over. I'm Anthony Gucciardi, and this broadcast is going to continue all night long with live debate coverage from Alex and everyone else at InfoWars.